The regular meeting of the Aurora City Council for Monday, May 4, 2026 is called to order. Will the clerk please read the roll?
Mayor Kaufman.
Here.
Councilmember Andrews.
Here.
Councilmember Bergen. Mayor Pro Tem Coombs. Present. Councilmember Gardner. Councilmember Hancock.
Here.
Councilmember Horton.
Here.
Councilmember Jackson. Councilmember Lawson.
Here.
Councilmember Medina.
Here.
Councilmember Wiles.
Here.
There's a quorum.
Please join me in an invocation. O Lord, our God and our Father, we come to you and we ask that you look upon this particular gathering tonight to keep us safe and guide us in our decisions. Bless our city with honorable citizens, industries, sound education, and good government. Unite our community together, even though we come from different backgrounds. We pray that there will be justice and peace in our city. Give the city council and citizens the wisdom, direction, and sensitivity to the business and proceedings before us tonight. Hear us, therefore, as we commit this meeting to the help of the community. Amen. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Land acknowledgement. The City of Aurora acknowledges that we gather on the territories and ancestral homelands of the Cheyenne, Ute, Arapaho, and Lakota peoples, past and present. We also recognize the 48 contemporary tribal nations that are historically tied to the lands that make up the state of Colorado. Indigenous people have remained committed to the stewardship of this land over many centuries. As these words of acknowledgement are spoken and heard, the ties that these nations have to their traditional homelands and to the vital place in the ecosystem are renewed and reaffirmed. And we are called upon to be better stewards of the land we inhabit as we continue to work to meet the needs of our entire community. Executive session update. During executive session, we discussed a real estate acquisition and labor negotiations. Motion is in order for the approval of the minutes from April 20th, 2026.
Mayor.
Mayor Pro Tem.
So moved.
Been moved by Mayor Pro Tem, seconded by? Second by Councilmember Medina to approve the minutes of April 20th, 2026. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, call for the question on the approval of the minutes from April 20th, 2026.
Mayor Kaufman.
Mayor votes yes.
Katie, I'm a yes. E-scribe is still loading.
Thank you. Councilmember Horton.
Yes.
Councilmember Andrews.
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously to adopt the April 20th, 2026 meeting minutes.
Mayor.
City Attorney.
Thank you, Mayor. So a real quick amendment to the agenda before the motion for approval. On item number 11A6, Councilmember Andrews, to be clear that we're adding Councilmember Allie Jackson as a co-sponsor to that resolution. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right. So the motion should be, whoever to approve the agenda should be a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Motion is in order for the adoption of the agenda as amended.
Mayor.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Move to adopt the agenda as amended.
Moved by Mayor Pro Tem, seconded by?
A second.
Second by Councilmember Andrews to approve the agenda as amended. Public invited to be heard.
Mayor.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead and vote, Mayor.
Mayor votes yes.
Councilmember
We're going
Horton.
to do the public comment.
Councilmember Andrews.
Yes.
Councilmember Bergen. Thank you. The motion passes unanimously to adopt the agenda with item 11A6 removed.
Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Just as a reminder that during public invited to be heard or public comment is that we ask that you do not comment on agenda items because there's a legal reason for it. Your comments will not be part of the record associated with that item. So if you do hear us say, hey, that item's on the agenda, if you signed up for anything that is on the agenda, please see the city clerk. Katie, raise your hand, and she can remove you from the public comment section and put you on to the agenda item so it's clear. Again, no, just that your comments won't be recorded on that agenda item if you do during public comment. So, and Katie, we're ready.
Okay, first person we have is Pastor.
Mayor, apologies, there was a point of personal privilege requested by Councilmember Jackson.
Councilmember Jackson.
Okay, thank you. So I just want to raise a point of privilege regarding decorum during public invite to be heard. I currently sit on the Rules Committee, and we've been doing a lot of community surveying for what decorum is, what it looks like, what it feels like, and how it might even be problematic. But we know that members of our community come to this space because they want to be heard. For many, this is one of the few places where their voice can be shared directly with those in positions of power, and that matters. As a council, we've taken steps to better understand how to hold this space with care, including gathering input from public on what respect and inclusive engagement looks like. Public invite to be heard is a protected space where individuals are given 3 minutes to exercise their First Amendment right as outlined in our procedures, and this time belongs to them. So I'm asking my colleagues and everyone in the room to please refrain from interrupting and allow each speaker their full 3 minutes. This doesn't mean you agree with what is being said. It's just ensuring that we can fully hear everything that is being said. I also want to acknowledge that there is real tension between decorum and truth. Creating an inclusive environment does not mean avoiding discomfort. In fact, meaningful change often moves through moments of tension and conflict. But at the same time, we're called to hold that tension with intention, to remember that we are all humans and this space belongs to all of us. We are still learning, we're still growing, and we will not always get it right, but I want us to be grounded in the words of Bell Hooks as we move into public invite to be heard, who asks us to consider how do we hold people accountable for wrongdoing while still remaining in touch with their humanity enough to believe in their capacity to be transformed. That's the work before us, so thank you all so much.
Okay, the first person we have is Pastor Ron Frierson.
Good evening to the council and to every member who is here. I know that there are a lot of contentious issues that need to be addressed. My heart tonight is that first and foremost, that we as a body, we as a people will begin to move to look to see what is good for our community. We all love and want the best for this community. And it is my heart that through this process that we can move to the place that we can not express ourselves, because oftentimes when we express ourselves, the meaning and the heart of what we want to say gets lost, but that we communicate in such a way that we can be heard. That we can be heard when it gets to the root of the matter. And so tonight I know that there are many issues at hand, and I know that the council is dealing with the issue of the loss of many family members, and that breaks my heart anytime somebody's life is lost. Under any circumstance, my heart is broken by that. And how we move forward as a community, how we move forward to bring forth healing, I believe that we need to find the best way to come to the table to be heard. And I encourage each and every one of you and each and every one of the members here in the gallery to find a way that we can express what we need to be expressed, or to speak to what needs to be spoken, so that we can be productive in bringing forth healing to our community. So my prayer is tonight, Heavenly Father, I just ask that you bring forth healing. I pray, Father, that you bring forth transformation. I pray forth, Father, that in all that takes place, that you would be glorified in all that is said and done. In Jesus' name, Father, bring forth, Lord, the things that need to be done so that we can heal our community, no matter who they are, and let every person in our community is worthy to be loved and encouraged and protected and walk forward, so that we can do this together. In Jesus' name, amen.
Debbie Stafford.
Mr. Mayor, members of City Council, good evening. My name is Debbie Stafford. I'm a resident of Aurora, and I'm also chair of the Aurora Community of Faith. Dr. Sandra Wilson wrote the book, Hurting People Hurt People. And in this City Council chamber, you often hear the pain of those who are going through trauma, hurt, anger, and grief. Their pain is real. Their pain is normal. And I am here to acknowledge the trauma, hurt, anger, and grief. I am a constituent. I have the right to come before you without being jeered at, bullied, harassed, manipulated, maligned on social media, my credibility questioned, or having my employer threatened. As a state representative who served Aurora for 8 years at the Capitol, one of the first trainings we were given was on decorum. It is okay and expected that there will be differing opinions and beliefs. Disagree, yes. Disrespect, no. In an email I sent recently to the Aurora Community of Faith, I will share portions. I am reaching out and asking for us to come together in a way that we have never done before. As many of you attend or watch the Aurora City Council meetings and have for the past couple of years watched a small group of citizens hijack the public invited to be heard hour before and now at the end with an organized agenda of threatening, swearing at, using scripture to threaten council members, and promising ill will to our city leaders, the Aurora Police Department, and our community. I have purposed not to attend these disrespectful meetings, and I watch them virtually instead. I recently told Chief Chamberlain and Mayor Kaufman that I am grieved about the lack of civility in this chamber. And as a state representative, one of our first trainings was decorum. And I will tell you that what we need to know is if a citizen testifying before a committee, or if we as a member were disrespectful, the speaker would have gavelled us down, and if that continued, a sergeant-at-arms would have escorted us out of the building. Aurora is our city. I must apologize to all of you for standing on the sidelines and watching our city be under siege by a few hurt, angry, bitter people who purpose to threaten, swear at, and disrespect the leaders of our city, rather than seeking positive ways to bring healing and change. I am praying that God will call 7 of those who are fighting the city or their loved ones to join the Aurora Police Academy and become part of the fabric of healing in our city. Mayor and members of council, I'm here to ask for decorum in this chamber. Ephesians 4:31 and 32 says, "Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and slander be put away from all among you, and be kind to one another. And may God show us mercy."
Becky Mustachio.
Good evening. Thank you for having me today. My name is Becky, and I am with the Mustachio Grief Foundation. And I just wanted to come to let everybody know that there are resources available for people who are grieving. We started this foundation because I, too, am grieving. And so we help families who've lost a loved one for any reason with non-traditional services, and those services include headstones, family vacations, tutors, sports for kids, and extracurricular activities. Because we know that during grief, it is very hard for kids to focus at school, to not have an outlet to let their grief out, because kids grieve differently than adults grieve. But it is for anyone who has lost a loved one. And our applications are open right now from till May 13th at 11:59 p.m. And you can apply online at grieffoundation.org. So if you know anybody or if any of your constituents might need that service or anybody in the gallery, please go online and apply. And we hope to help as many people as possible. We are very little right now, but we do help as many people as we can with those services. So I just want to let people know there are other resources available that are not just, not to say just, but not counseling or things like that, that are non-traditional. So I will close in prayer and thank you for hearing me. And Heavenly Father, we come to you right now and we just ask that you would touch all of us that are hurting, that you would fill us with the love of Jesus Christ and the Holy Spirit would wrap us in your arms and hold us close, God. Give us the wisdom that we need to walk forward and help us to walk together and not against each other. And I pray that you will help us to realize that we are all hurting and we all just need to figure out how to walk in our pain and hold us close during that process. And just whatever people need right now, I pray that you will just provide that for us. So we thank you, Jesus, for this time, and we thank you for the city of Aurora and all the members that are here and everybody that came tonight. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Pastor Al Coombs.
Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Al Combs. I've been a resident here at the city of Aurora for 40 years. I've been a religious leader, pastor here in the city of Aurora for 45 years. And I'm not here tonight for a photo op or media event. I come here tonight to usher a greater peace in our city of Aurora, Colorado. Conflict is not unique to Aurora. It's a national charge and worldwide. For peace is not simply a situation, condition, or circumstance. But peace, my sisters and brothers, is a person. And this name is Jehovah Shalom, the Lord of peace. I pray on a regular basis for you, Mayor Kaufman, on a regular basis, for the Aurora City Council on a regular basis, Police Department on a regular basis, Fire Department on a regular basis, Colorado frontline healthcare workers on a regular basis. Because God makes clear to me that the effectual fervent prayer of the righteous avails much. And I realize and understand we're limited in power, we're limited in presence, we're limited in understanding. But there's no limit to God's power, his presence, or understanding. Aurora, God loves us all. God says there's neither Jew nor Greek, neither slave nor free, neither male nor female. We are all one in the sight of God. Ethnicity, race, financial status, or gender are not factors in the mind and sight of God. We are all one people, the offspring of God. God bless you. I'll keep in my prayers. Love you all.
Jerry Jurinsky.
About 5 months of the new council has passed. Let's see how the new socialists are doing. Amy Wiles wants a police review board, probably to be made up of haters and socialists for additional police criticism. Giannina Horton opened a video by saying another black man shot dead by police. nothing about the officer being stabbed in the head, and no common sense that if you attempt to kill a police officer, you are likely to be shot, maybe killed. She and her comrades want letters of mourning to go out to families of police shootings. Again, nothing about families of police officers. Every day, police put themselves between citizens and chaos, and all they receive from this socialist council is contempt. All the socialists voted against the memorandum of police cooperation with ICE. The pattern is clear. Demean, diminish, embarrass police, and provide cover for criminals. Rob Andrews, who should not be chair of public safety after being arrested for endangering the public as a drunk. His videos are more laughable than informative. Public safety is the strength of a community. Investment, tourism, the economy, quality of life, and image all flow from public safety. And having Andrews as its face is a portrait of the absurd. Allie Jackson, who said she is overwhelmed and cannot function without an assistant. At least she's admitting she is not qualified to be on the council. The previous council reduced crime in all categories, improved safety, prosperity, and moved Aurora from the shadow of Denver. This socialist council is saying criminals are welcome. You are the priority, not citizens or businesses. In 5 months, sadly, Aurora has become a sad statewide joke.
Andy Starrett.
Good evening, members of the council and everybody in attendance. I didn't write a great speech or anything tonight, but as a member of the Aurora community and a parent of a murdered child here, I want to echo what the reverends and everybody before me said, that grief is an ongoing thing. It requires a lot of strength to get around, maneuver, a lot of family needs to be involved, and things like support groups, counseling. As a former member of Parents of Murdered Children, which has a local chapter here in Colorado, I urge everybody that's in our community to look into that in times of grief. Going through what me and my wife have gone through over the last 7 years, dealing with that kind of a loss, it's painful. I understand that, members of our community are dealing with it too, and just wanted to come up and give a little, advice on that, to reach out, do like I did, seek counseling, get with a group like the POMC, which is pomc.org, and take it from there. And your struggles will always remain with you, but there are ways to make them better.
Shonda Duarte.
Well, good evening, council members, all other attendees. Clearly, I'm not sure what's happening here, but my topic is very different. Again, my name is Shonda Stewart, and I've been a native to Aurora my whole life, going on 50 years. And I'm here to talk about the changes proposed to the Aurora Reservoir access not the fracking part, but the road access study that's been proposed and the decisions made. Like many in this community, I'm deeply concerned, not just about the decision itself to have access to the Aurora Reservoir, but how the decisions are being made. The reservoir is not just a body of water. It's a shared space for families, neighbors, taxpayers that we've invested in for years. Decisions that impact access to it should reflect that of shared ownership. Right now, it feels like the community's not being brought in to the evaluation process from the beginning, and that erodes trust. Once trust is gone, it's hard to rebuild that. So I'm asking and coming to the council for some assistance on this study. I've had some communication with that department, with Gary Vidlock, and I think that, I'm asking for 3 simple things that need to come out to the community: transparency, accountability, and some meaningful community engagement. What the full scope is of this plan, who ultimately is really benefiting from it, because it's going to impact our community severely. Access to our homes, we can barely get there now during some parts of the year when the fairgrounds are open. It's already a challenge, and now they're coming right to our backyard. Literally, our backyard is going to be the main area for this new access road. We're not asking to stop progress, but we want to be part of it. To be heard before decisions are finalized, not after. And so I'm hoping that, by talking to the city council and bringing this in, I did reach out to Francois because I know she's part of this district. I have not heard back from her yet. But I think that we really need to take a step back. Our community is greatly impacted, especially in this area. I moved there for a reason. I like to continue to enjoy it and not be impacted by all the things that are becoming right into our literally our backyard. So I'm hoping to take a step back, open this up for a real community involvement, not just a mailer that goes out one time that most people probably don't pay attention to in the mail, goes in a recycle bin or trash. But I think we need to be heard. This impacts where I live, impacts where a lot of people live. We already have the impact from the fracking. Now we're going to take away access to the reservoir, and rather than leave it in a main thoroughway, we're going to throw it right into our backyard. I don't think anybody would like that in their community, especially when we know what happens during the summer.
Jeffrey McFarland, followed by Kristen Mallory.
Oh, Katie, please give me your contact information.
Okay.
Mayor, point of privilege.
Oh, sorry. Who's there? Oh, Councilmember Bergen.
Yes, I cannot find that constituent's email, so could she please, or can I get her information? I'll reach out to her. As most know, there was public engagement done by staff on that access road, but I certainly understand her frustration. I have heard from several people in the toll gate crossing community, and I'm actually in the process of getting additional information on that access road.
Go ahead.
Good evening, Council. My name is Jeffrey McFarland, and apparently I need to use PG-13 language to get a point across to you, so I'm going to. The reason that I and my other comrades in the Denver Aurora Community Action Committee continue to come out here week by week is simply because, well, now it took 2.5 years, but we've reached a point where you've considered apologizing to the victims of police violence and brutality. But now, apparently, apparently more than dead, unarmed civilians in your streets, foul language offends your sensibilities. Apparently, more than a boy being held down and injected with ketamine until he died, you are more offended by the fact that we just don't have any unity on this poor widow council. And I want you to know that the way that you can fix that isn't by telling the victims and their families to seek out groups and, put the burden of fixing the problem on the victim. The way is that you give the community control of the police force. It's really quite simple. We, in the Denver Aurora Community Action Committee, we advocate for what's called a Civilian Police Accountability Council. Apparently, that's extreme to people like Stephanie Hancock, but if there is no subpoena power in an oversight board, I would genuinely asking you, Andrews, Medina, Jackson, anybody who wants to look up and listen, Wiles, I genuinely want to know, what good is an oversight board with no subpoena power? I want to know how often do we already find that the district attorney, like Brian Mason or Amy Patton or whoever, finds that these people did nothing wrong? That's crazy. Every time. They've never done anything wrong. They've shot at least 4 to 5 unarmed black men in the street, but it was never their fault. It wasn't their fault when they shot Corey Dillard or when they shot any of the other folks who were utilizing, like Jalen Sebron, utilizing their Second Amendment right. They did nothing wrong when they shot Kylan Lewis or Rashad Johnson or any of the folks who were purely and completely unarmed. It's amazing, isn't it, how that no matter what they do, the police never, ever did anything wrong. For those who are uninformed, like the good delegation behind me, Todd Chamberlain was not chosen by the city of Aurora. Todd Chamberlain was chosen by Jason Batchelor and a conservative majority council, which now no longer exists for the first time in 3 decades. Is that clear to everybody here? I have to listen to people like Francois Bergen and Curtis Gardner and Stephanie Hancock all take their ball and go home and poo-poo about how snapping and clapping is so uncivil. Yet I literally sat here and listened to Danielle Jurinsky talk about trying to fist fight an activist out in the stands here. If you want to be like that about it, the way we used to solve this problem is we used to tar and feather you motherfuckers. So please fire Todd Chamberlain. Please give the community control over the police. And please get off your ass and do something. That would be great. Is that polite enough?
Kristen Mallory, followed by Allie DeWells-Marcano.
Good evening, Council. My name is Kristen Mallory Westerberg. I'm an Aurora resident, and I'm here to add perspective to the continuing dialogue regarding decorum and public comment. I have seen messaging suggesting folks have hijacked our city council meetings. I find that word to be an interesting choice, hijack. The definition of hijack is seizing control of a process, discussion, or system for an unrelated or unintended purpose. What is the purpose of City Council? What is this system for, if not to serve and respond to the needs of our community? What is being called hijacking is actually people using one of the only spaces they have left to be heard. And yes, sometimes what people have to say may be uncomfortable and sound angry, but we can't separate that anger from Aurora's history. This is a city where unarmed black men like Elijah McClain, Kylan Lewis, and Rashawn Johnson have lost their lives in encounters with the police. This is a city where our previous elected officials chose to silence us, not listen, to silence the families of these men, to silence the friends of these men, and silence the community they were a part of and whose memory they carry forward today. When people step up to this microphone, they are not performing. They are pleading for responsiveness. They are challenging the system that has killed their loved ones. And if we're going to bring faith into this, then let's be honest about that too. Weekly mass and a college degree from a Baptist school taught me this: Jesus wasn't focused on keeping things polite or orderly. He challenged power. He stood with people who were hurting. He flipped tables when systems were unjust. He didn't tell the oppressed to calm down. He told those in power to change. So using faith to try to manage or counter the voices of people in pain is not aligned with the life of Jesus. It misses the point entirely. Healing starts with listening when it's uncomfortable, and then doing something about what you hear. If we actually want peace, it has to come from justice and accountability, not from trying to clean up how pain is expressed. And for those of you who are still committed to the negative peace, who wish to use your faith as a weapon against those who are hurting, I offer you this: that God values genuine inner integrity far more than an outward appearance of goodness, and says so in Matthew 23 through 27. Woe to you, teachers of the law and Pharisees, you hypocrites! You are like whitewashed tombs, which look beautiful on the outside, but on the inside are full of the bones of the dead and everything unclean. In the same way, on the outside you appear to people as righteous, but on the inside you are full of hypocrisy and wickedness.
Come on.
Ali DeWills Marcano, followed by Pastor Sam James.
Before my time starts, I do want to just quickly explain. I am disabled. I am currently experiencing a health condition that sometimes causes dystonia. So if my muscles spasm during my speech, I would like to request that it not affect my time. I am currently in a flare-up. So if I suddenly spasm, I apologize. And now, if I have time to start, thank you. I missed the meeting about decorum. I am sorry to miss it, but it is worth noting that the sheer number of meetings and the time required to engage with council is getting a little bit unwieldy. I think it's more meaningful to have the conversation where people already are, which is right here, right now. If we want to talk about public invited to be heard, what better place is there to talk about it than public invited to be heard? Something I warned about years ago when the former council began gutting this forum has happened. And it's ironic that it's happening not from the people that have been fear-mongered against and painted as disruptors. In fact, it's been done to them by established powers and at the encouragement of the mayor. An organized group has decided they will take up all the space to silence the voices of people they don't want to hear from. And surprise, surprise, it wasn't the grieving families and victims of state-sanctioned violence that are intentionally trying to lock out other speakers. The hijackers are coming from inside the House, from the other side of this podium, from political insiders, and from status quo protectors. This is a perfect example of how decorum is wielded as a cudgel to silence only those who challenge power. Nobody asked about decorum when Mike Kaufman used his mayoral privilege to speak off the agenda to disparage commenters. Nobody asked about decorum when he literally used city resources and power to threaten me. Nobody asked about decorum when Curtis Gardner physically hulked over and invaded the personal space of a commenter who he did not like. Nobody asked about decorum when former councilmember Jurinsky called the chief of police trash and broke the city charter on a right-wing podcast. In fact, half this council still has yet to release the recording of their alleged dismissal of a censure that was filed against her, and that censure was 100% decorous. Nobody on that side of the dais has ever had anything but feelings hurt by anything anyone has ever said on this side of the dais. People like Ms. Schaffner and the families of victims, and yes, even little old me, have been directly harmed. We have been threatened with both physical intimidation and retaliation, and we aren't elected officials with the protections of the city attorney's office and like a dozen armed officers and a bulletproof dais. Council, turn your concern for decorum inward. Worry about how you will protect free speech, how you will stop retaliation, how you will respond with honesty and clarity to your constituents who are calling on you to be better. You are big boys and girls. I think you can handle hearing some people asking you to fuck off once in a while, especially since you literally have the power of an entire city government, and these speakers are simply desperate for even an ounce of accountability. There is one very fast fix for hijacking. Just eliminate the false scarcity of a 1-hour time limit. Don't leave it up for a vote whenever you feel like expressing your big deist energy. Just humbly allow all the speakers to speak, just like former mayors Laguerre and Hogan did for years. And hooray, no one can be hijacked but you. Rules like that are your power to make and break. You are wizards who can speak simple ideas into law. And we are simply screaming for you to use that power for good, not as a weapon against the very people you pledge to represent, F-words or not.
Pastor Sam James, followed by Shay Jacobs.
Mayor Kaufman, council members, good evening. I am Pastor Samuel James and Vice Chair of Aurora Community of Faith. Let me start here. To the mothers who have lost their children, there are no words big enough for your grief, and I will not stand here and pretend they are. But I will say this clearly: you are seen, you are heard, and your voice matters. Now, an email was written, circulated, and read regarding decorum during the public invited to be heard segment at Aurora City Council meetings. That email was never meant to silence anyone, but let me be just as clear. Intent does not cancel impact. If that message caused pain, especially to grieving mothers, then we acknowledge that. We don't dismiss it. We don't explain it away, because Scripture reminds us, weep with those who weep. And right now, there are people in this community who are weeping. Jesus himself never silenced the broken. He didn't push away the grieving. He met people in their pain. The Bible says, "Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted." If there has been any moment where comfort felt absent, we must do better. At the same time, Jesus also taught, "Blessed are the peacemakers." That's where ACOF stands. Not choosing sides, choosing peace, choosing truth, choosing a relationship. Because we hold both, respect in how we speak and space for people to express real pain, even when it's raw. This is not about silencing voices, but having mutual respect. It's about building a community where voices lead to change, not division. Right now, we have a choice. Keep misunderstanding each other, or come together to the table and do the hard work of listening. So we are extending our hand, not in defense, but in partnership, to the mothers, to the community, to leadership, and yes, to law enforcement. Because healing doesn't happen at a distance, it happens face to face. Scripture says, "Let us not love with words or speech, but with actions and in truth." So let this not just be words tonight. Let this be the start of something better. We are here, we are listening, and we are committed to walking forward together. So tonight, let our common thread be woven in prayer. 2 Chronicles 7:14 states, "If my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray," and you know the rest.
Shay Jacobs, followed by Pastor Topaz McBride. Shay Jacobs. Okay, Pastor Topaz McBride, followed by Aonte Anderson.
Good evening. I stand here first giving honor to God. I acknowledge each and every one of you on this council and all of the families represented here that are still suffering, that are in pain. I stand here as a faith leader in our community, representing community. I've been in this council room many a times when there's been disrespect, when there's been dishonor that has come from both sides. And I wonder if those who are appalled are really paying attention. Because when I sat in this room and I watched mothers crying, standing before this council, hoping to be heard, looking for support, and members of this council ignored them, put their heads down. This is not at times when foul language was being used, but this was when mothers were speaking from their heart, from their pain, and desperately wanting accountability, particularly as it relates to the Aurora Police Department. There was rudeness, there was disrespect. People got up, walked out, people focused on their computers, people ignored and didn't even give these mothers eye contact. I wonder what happened to that part when we're talking about decorum. There has been disrespect on both sides. I say that again. But at this time, we have to figure out where we go from here. Are we going to continue to be in opposition? Are we going to continue to put each other down? Or are we willing to come together to bring a difference and hold those that are accountable, in particular for the murders and the unaliving of unarmed people? Are we willing to come together to support those who have justified needs? Or are we going to continue to act like we are enemies on opposite sides? When in reality, I know that there are people on this council who also have been hurt and have been dealing with issues as well. And it's time to stop the childish rants and attacks. Thank you.
Ayante Anderson, followed by Median Schaffner.
Let the church say amen, amen, amen. This evening, you have heard from individuals in this community that have decided to utilize this time not to stand in solidarity with mothers like LaRonda Jones and others that have been impacted by police violence. They have posed a question to you all about how these individuals who have been losing loved ones by your Aurora Police Department should be able to respond. So the question I have for the council and those in the audience is, what side would Jesus stand on? You know, I'm from the east side of heaven, so let me teach you what they teach us on the east side, since clearly those from the gentrified parts of our kingdom do not understand what it means to be a Christian. Psalms 82 verses 3 and 4 teaches us, defend the poor and the fatherless, do justice to the afflicted and the needy, deliver the poor and the needy, free them from the hand of the wicked. So the other question that we must pose is, where have these leaders been for the last 2 years? When people have been begging you just to see their humanity, Where have those leaders been to say, council member, mayor, see their humanity, have the conversation with them. Let us help walk them through that door that you're not willing to open. Where have those leaders been? But 2 years after the murder of Kylan Lewis, nearly 8 years, 7 to 8 years after the murder of Elijah McClain, now leaders magically appear before you to say, we don't like the way that those individuals on this side of the dais speak to you. You signed up for this job. You went through your application process through an election. You asked to sit here. So sometimes you must take the heat. Did you pull the trigger yourself that murdered these individuals? No. And I don't believe anybody up here has ever accused you of actually pulling the trigger yourself. However, if you believe that Jesus would endorse the actions of the police or tone police those in community being oppressed by the system, then I never want to meet your Jesus.
Median Schaffner, followed by LaRonda Jones.
So we have heard from individuals that come from a group called Aurora Community of Faith, or also known as ACOF. I find it very interesting that after 2 years, not one of these families can ever say they've heard of ACOF before they decided that the language that was used at this podium was just too much. So that is a challenge to ACOF. If you claim to be healers in our community, why are those who are in pain learning about you for the first time when you come to tell them to stop talking so harsh to our leaders? And it begs the question, what is that pretty little word when you lose a son to a system? What word are you looking for when you have someone who loved that individual and is not being listened to? Exactly what word is that? Because when it comes through the pain and the expression, it's not about the word. It's about the ignorance of the leaders that will not lean in to support. I am so glad that the chair of ACOF, Debbie Stafford, decided to read her email, because you see, I am the one that responded to her intentionally. So I'm going to read a part of my email as well. What God are you praying to, Debbie? Because the God I know does not tremble at language. The God I know is grieved by injustice. The God I know sits with the mother who has to identify her child's body. The God I know does not turn away from the cries of the oppressed because they are not packaged in politeness. So what God are you praying to? And it is unrealistic for anyone to expect a community to continue to offer grace to a system that refuses to lean in to offer support and even acknowledgement that they have lost someone that they love. But you want grace? Because if an officer is killed in the line of duty, the community does not have to make a movement for you to change your policies and your procedures for different outcomes. But when we're killed, that's what it requires. But you want grace? So I am going to tell the members of ACOF and anyone that decided to be galvanized by their presence tonight, you are not a healer and you are not a leader for this time. Because the God we know and the God we serve would be next on this list to speak to this council. So we will not yield. We will not stop. And Debbie Stafford, what you thought you were going to do with this email campaign, you thought you were going to start a train and you were going to block what we are doing. Debbie
Debbie Stafford, this has been a movement that you cannot stop, because we will not stop. And to every pastor that wants to come here and speak in this space, I need you to understand, while your back was turned, the mother of Kylie Lewis had to leave this chamber because it was too hard and too much for her to hear you speak about decorum. She had to leave this chamber, but you want us to believe that you're a healer. You want us to believe that you're building bridges. You can't build bridges if you can't face the truth. And we are no longer working conceptually, we are working practically, and that scares every single person.
LaRonda Jones, followed by Ray Cole.
Is there tissue? Is there tissue? Well, we're right here. We're right here. I was going to say something else tonight, but just listening to Debbie Stafford, lady, let me tell you something. You don't know what it feels like to lose a child. Have you lost a child? I bet you haven't. So you don't know that we grieve every day, that we wake up. And for you to sit there to say it's been a couple of years, there's nothing but one family been here a couple of years, and that's me, my family, and everybody that supports us. Because I'm going to fight for my son, Kylie Lewis, every day. So you have the audacity to come up here and say the words that you said when you have no clue what I go through. And for you to bring back some peace, you don't know the meaning of the word peace. You sit here and listen to Mr. Jurisky down every single one of these new elects. But like you said, you didn't come all this other time because you couldn't stand to hear all that nonsense, negativity. But you sit in your seat tonight and heard it, didn't make a move. I tell you one thing, I'm glad that the new elects are in. Because let me tell you something, even though Mr. Jurisky came and spoke, his daughter Danielle didn't want to shut down public speaking, encouraged it, so they wouldn't hear from my family. Nobody, I don't care how they try to stand or what they try to say, you would never shut this down. You would never shut our family down or what we have to say and what we stand for. I want you to know that, because your words cut like a knife, like a double-edged sword. You have no clue, lady, of what we go through, all of us mothers that has lost our family members, our children. So lady, you came up here and did the wrong thing. You was talking about you want healing, you for healing, and you for peace. The truth ain't in you. The devil is a liar. And I wouldn't dare come to your organization. Anywhere that you stand for, I wouldn't dare stand a foot in there. Because those words that you displayed tonight was it not 1 ounce of truth in it. I'm here to tell you, as a grieving mother, I will grieve for the rest of my life. It's in your best interest to pass that resolution, because I'm standing for my son, for the ones who did not stand for it.
Ray Cole, followed by Della Ann Jordan.
Let the church say amen. Let the church say amen. Let the church say amen.
Good evening.
Amen.
Amen. Amen. I'm here to talk about what my neighbor came up earlier to talk about the entrance to the reservoir. My topic seems at this stage minimal in the big scheme of things. This is my first city council meeting that I've attended. I've been here about 15 years, and it is heart-wrenching. It is heart-wrenching to sit in the audience and hear. I mean, and granted, I know your jobs are hard and the community is suffering. However, this entry road they're proposing to put through this neighborhood, which unfortunately happens to be at the back of my home. And I clearly chose this home because there was nothing behind it but a bus depot. And the kids could play, and I'm the quintessential, that's Mr. Ray. I'm the old black guy in the corner that all the kids talk to, right? And if you guys open this up, that's gone. It's too much traffic. As my neighbor said earlier, I mean, when the festivals go on, we appreciate the reservoir. We can't get home. There's 2 entrances to our neighborhood. We can't get home. The traffic is crazy. And now you're talking about putting the entrance directly behind my home. And I don't know about you, but I like the sense of kids walking around. I like to talk to my neighbors through the fence. And that's what it's gonna impact. And I wouldn't be here if it made sense, if it's a logical decision. But there's an entrance that would require maybe a 1/4 mile of the road widened, and we're fine. So to disrupt this neighborhood the way that the plans that I've seen would do, and not think about the people, the community that you're gonna impact, I think this is what happens. This is what happens. It's not crazy, it's the plans, it's not logical by any means. So I'm blown away. I don't want to take up too much of your time. I appreciate all of you guys. I appreciate y'all coming out and doing this. And maybe I'm the one that's missing. Maybe I need to sit up here more often and plug into my community, because you guys, whew, this is heart-wrenching. And I leave you with peace. Thank you.
Katie, give me his contact information, please.
Yes, Della Ann Jordan, followed by T-Tag.
Katie, I would also like his contact information, please.
Okay.
After everything I've heard tonight, I feel kind of bad. There's a lot that cannot be done for those grieving families, but I do believe that something can still be done about this. Navigation Center, Aurora Police, Domina Security, and Comfort Suites. Chief Chamberlain should resign or be fired. Has anyone read my police report 26-42556 dated 24 February, page 4, paragraphs 4 and 5? Maybe the other person, the female who assaulted me, has a warrant or criminal matter. Why else would she not speak to police and officers and not give them her name? 26th of February, my attackers repeated my remarks word for word in sequence, but officers had to have told them what I said in order for them to do that, but reversed roles of attackers and me, victim. Paragraph 5, page 7, who the hell is Blake? There wasn't even a Blake involved in this situation. Page 9, paragraph 4, my first name, Della, is listed as the victim. My last name, Jordan, is listed as the attacker. Comfort Suite stole the few things I managed to acquire being a homeless tenant living in their hotel. I filed 2 reports. Officers Long and Vaughn stated that that's a civil matter. Don't bother me. Go 30 miles to Brighton, file a small claims case, which is about a 3-bus ride. Elsa, the clerk, stated to me, stop calling or coming down here or I'll kick your ass. I asked the cops to take a look at the cameras near my room. If it shows nothing, then I'll leave. Give me my medical equipment. Vaughn comes to the hotel, doesn't even ask to see the footage. He tells me to leave. Okay, I said, am I being charged with trespassing, loitering? The desk clerk says no. Vaughn says no. And Chief Chamberlain, you need to fix, cut, paste, copy, repair, but you need to do something to change what information that was wrong placed in my record. You need to hire trained, experienced, empathetic, non-racist police officers. Colorado Victims' Rights Act, 1992. You should know about that. The Victim Service Unit should have a supervisor.
Mayor, council members, we've reached the 1-hour limit. We have 10 people left to speak.
Let them speak.
Mayor,
Mayor Protem.
move to allow the remaining individuals to speak.
It's been moved by Mayor Protem, seconded by
Medina.
Second by
Medina.
Medina.
And this requires a 2/3 because of suspension of your rules.
Discussion? Seeing no discussion, call for the question.
They called my name.
Not yet.
Oh, sorry.
Sure.
And Katie, my e-scribe is down, but I'm a yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. Mine is taking a minute too. Thank you. Mayor Kaufman,
Mayor with yes.
Councilmember Horton. Yes. Councilmember Andrews.
Yes.
Councilmember, thank you. The motion passes with 9 yes votes, 2 no votes from Councilmember Bergen and Councilmember Hancock. The next speaker we have is T-Tag, followed by Zachary Cotton.
All right. If they want to, they will. For example, Zorhan Mandami, getting things done. If you want to, you will. American offspring reproduction numbers are down, so much so the conservatives are wondering why teens aren't reproducing. Do you know how bad it must be that animals are not reproducing and that's what they are put on this earth to do? That's just gross. We as citizens come up here every single week begging and pleading out of trauma, showing our most vulnerable side of ourselves to not just you guys, but our entire community for just a tiny, tiny sliver of empathy and humanity. Yet all we get is people who are in leadership who lie to us on record about numbers, situations, people who are called leaders who defend those who lie to us, and yet spend all of our tax dollars and time being the fifi police for our feelings of those who try to take away our First Amendment rights instead of just doing what is right and doing their jobs. Yes, I would love the privilege, Stephanie Hancock, of coming here to complain about potholes and be in the party of what is good for thee is not good for me. But we have a police chief who's accused of sexual assault, and we live in a country where we have what is called a rape academy with 63 members, 63 million members, sorry. And we have a mayor who stands up for somebody who lies and is accused of sexual assault. And we have someone like me who's been sexually assaulted by police and is allowed to be our police chief. And that's the least of it. We have people who have family members who are murdered and is still allowed to be the police chief, and a mayor who stands up for him and lies. And anyway, so our own mayor will defend murderers, sexual assaulters, liars, and we have someone named Jason Dutchler who hires him under the guise of the day without any type of control. We have a police force who's rogue. There's no checks and balances. All we're asking for is a little bit of community input, and growing up and living in continued trauma and let down by those who you are supposed to trust makes us constant foot soldiers. It doesn't make us human beings who trust people. I hope you understand that. Maybe you guys should do a little bit of research on mental health, and that would make us more compliant.
Zachary Cotton. Zachary Cotton, followed by Cassandra Hill.
So my topic is a little bit different, but it still kind of follows the same theme that we've been hearing all day tonight, about lies and obstructions just behind a respectable face. Last time we were here, Todd Chamberlain phoned in just to lie to the community. I was going to say that we all remember that, but a lot of the people that are here tonight just weren't there the last 2 weeks. So it doesn't matter how many people were here or the political messaging behind that body, he lied to his constituency. And that's something that he's repeatedly done to both the families and to the media. But most importantly, to the families of these victims, he has continued to lie to them. We have heard the corrections, or we did hear the connections, at least some of us, to the numbers that he presented when he dialed in on the fact that he was in direct communication with the ICE director. But That's not what I'm here to focus on tonight. It's the fact that he was in communication with the ICE director at all. I filed a core request to get more information about his conversation with leadership at DHS and ICE. I'm entitled to that information for 3 days is when I'm supposed to get that, with at least a 7-day extension. And right now they said that they would give that to me in 6 to 8 weeks. That was an automated reply. They did not read that. They're obstructing and they're lying. The time delays and huge fees that, other departments don't charge me for this. If I ask for contracts from the city, they give that stuff to me, you know what, fuck it. They give that shit to me the same day, right? Where it takes weeks, and they wanted to charge me $6,000 for the same contract, right? That the city provided for me that same day. So this is just a way for APD and Todd Chamberlain to lie and obstruct, because that is all they can do when they do not have the numbers on their side. And we're seeing that tonight with some of these members of faith that are showing up just to obstruct and lie. Ideally, I would like to see Todd Chamberlain's resignation letter and a formal apology to all of the families that he has failed in the Denverite and the Colorado Sun tomorrow. And if that's not the case, then you all have to fire him. And once he is gone, the people of Aurora need to have an actual say in what needs to be done in his absence. You have the opportunity to have Aurora lead the way. I might live 20 minutes away in Denver, but I love this city. I think it's beautiful. I love all the restaurants here. I love the people here. My friends and people I consider my family are here. But I hate that APD continues to be a stain on this city. It's awful. Todd Chamberlain needs to go. You all need to correct this. And I got 30 seconds, so let's see. The decorum, they already left. They all already left. Never mind. Have a good night.
Cassandra Hill, followed by Samantha Corrente.
Hello, Aurora City Council. My name is Cassandra Heil, and I'm here with the Denver Aurora Community Action Committee, otherwise known as DACAG. At every city council meeting I've come to, there are people talking about police crime, police violence, and police murder. It is a main point talked about in these public comment sections, and this council continues to ignore many citizens who come to talk about the Aurora Police Department problem. This council brushes us aside as a loud minority, despite there constantly being new faces that come in to talk about the violence the Aurora police bring into the community. There are so many people demanding justice and change, many of whom have come here to speak. We've heard from mothers who've lost their sons, brothers that miss their siblings, partners who are left without their loved ones, kids who miss their dad. We've heard from people the police have brushed off and refused to help, people the police have brutalized, people who want to make the community safer by getting killer cops off the street. We've heard last city council meeting, some kids came to talk about the way APD profiles and discriminates against them. How can you continue to think there's not an issue with the Aurora Police Department when so many people come to these city council meetings and talk about the horrors APD puts them through? How many people need to die by APD's hand before action is taken? So many people come here every week to ask you to do something, to give the community justice, and there's still inaction. Why do you think so many people come here every other week to talk about violence the Aurora Police Department brings to the community? Do you think this is fun for us? No. We're here because there is a huge problem with APD, and something needs to be done about it. Aurora City Council was looking for community input on reducing interruptions and addressing decorum rules. If you gave community control over the police, you would not have these disruptions. People are frustrated that you are brushing off violence and murder. People are mad that you are not taking action, and people should be mad. Violence and murder, people should be mad about that, and mad that there's nothing happening about it. We aren't going anywhere until there is real change that benefits the community. First, fire the incredibly corrupt and racist Todd Chamberlain, then give community control over the police. That's how you solve that problem.
Samantha Corrente, followed by Veronica Sebron.
Hello. some of you may have heard a little bit about this at our first meeting. To the Aurora community and anyone who received the recent message regarding comment at City Council, I want to respond clearly and directly, Debbie, to the narrative being pushed about residents who have spoken during comment. The people being criticized are not hijacking meetings. They are community members using one of few public avenues available to raise concerns directly to elected officials. Public comment exists for that exact reason: to allow residents, especially those who feel unheard, to speak power to truth. It is easy to label pain as anger, Debbie. It is easy to call frustration disrespect when leaders are the subject of criticism. But many of the voices speaking at council meetings are people who have experienced real harm, real neglect, real injustice, and real disappointment from systems that were here to serve them. When communities repeatedly ask for help and are ignored, emotion, Debbie, is not the problem. Emotion is the evidence of the problem. Attempts to paint speakers as bitter is dangerous. It's very uncivil and deeply concerning. That kind of language dismisses legitimate grievances. And shifts attention away from the actual issues being raised. It is a tactic often used when those in authority would rather silence criticism than confront accountability. Faith leaders should be standing with the hurting, not helping sanitize discomfort. For elected officials, they should be asking why so many residents feel compelled to speak with urgency, not organizing against the very people crying out for justice. But what do I know? No one is required to agree with every tone, every word, or every speaker, but democracy is not reserved for those who speak politely enough to make power comfortable. Public comment is not a privilege granted for officials. It is a right. If city leaders want more civility, then they should model transparency, responsiveness, humility, and accountability. Respect is built through actions, not demanded through optics. To every resident who has spoken despite criticism, intimidation, or dismissal, keep speaking. Community changes when ordinary people refuse to be silent. Aurora belongs to all of us.
Followed by Kiowa Lewis.
Do not take this time as an attack, but do not police the grief that you have never carried. As I speak about scripture, hypocrisy, and moral obligation to act, I have heard tonight to seek counseling and heal. That is easier said than done. We have requested pastors to pray with us from the beginning. That should have been done before decorum was an issue, but I guess that's easier said than done also. Now, scripture speaks directly to what happens when people claim righteousness while enabling harm. Even theological teachings, silence or inaction in the face of evil is not neutral. It is treated as supporting it. Allowing harm to continue without speaking or acting is considered complicity. People who claim to stand with God while supporting wrongdoing are described as hypocrites, false prophets, and imposters. Scripture warns us about such individuals, deceived others while being deceived themselves, as 2 Timothy 3:13 through 17. And true faith, real faith, is proven through action, not religious language. 1 John 4:20 teaches that someone cannot claim to love God while acting without love towards people. How can you love God if you hate your brothers and sisters? And let me say this with clarity. Debbie Stafford and anyone that wants to stand with her and against us and not understanding our grief. Decorum in grief looks different. The attack on people with titles to prejudge them before knowing their story is not good character or good faith. You may walk beside someone, Debbie, and enjoy their company, share values, and still never realize that they are the very people you once judged without understanding. Judgment is dangerous because it blinds you to the truth and exposes your own contradictions. So when someone tries to judge our grief by our tone, I ask them this: how can you judge the actions of something you do not understand? How can you judge the tone of a mother whose child was shot in the back and gunned down premeditated? How can you judge the urgency of families who have been ignored for years? How can you judge the volume of a grandmother fighting for a future of her grandchildren that will grow up without a father? And to this council, pastors, and community, till you choose action over comfort, justice over decorum, and truth over appearance, we will continue to speak loudly if we must, firmly because we must, and truthfully because that is what we owe our children.
Kiowa Lewis, followed by KDOT.
So a lot of y'all know that when I first started coming up here, I always prophesied, well, not prophesied, but I always spoke truth, right, through scripture. And it was never a threat against anybody. It was just always truth, that if you don't turn from your wicked ways, that Yahweh will deal with you, right? But I guess that's a threat. Have me arrested, whatever y'all want to do. Now, to go along with that, I'm sitting here on the side of my mama, the one who birthed me, and my little brother, Kylan, the one that Aurora Police Department shot. I'm seeing the tears flow, and I'm seeing, well, not necessarily tears, but I see her holding it back, because now it has to be masked with not anger, but more power out of her speech, right? And what do I see? I see Debbie over there with this little smirk. And I'm just looking at her because I'm like, you know, did she reading a text message? Is she on TikTok? What is she doing? This whole entire time, she's just smiling, right? And the thing is, it's like she's getting enjoyment out of my mom's pain. So, you know, I'm like, what is the odds? As I'm sitting here too, I see Samantha comes up here. When I say this woman had a scolding look at Samantha because she sees, it just, to me, I'm just calling it out. Racism looks different this day and age, right? People will mask it to look like something it's totally not. They will sit here and claim a card to say they're not racist just because it comes with a negative image to it. But the moment, you know, you see your own kind standing with what is right, and yet you had this evil look about you, it just blew me away. Couldn't wait to get up here. With that being said, me and my daughter did a little something today. It was an experiment, because I went to teach her how racism is only something that's been fed to us, right? If I come up to Mike Kaufman, right, and I hold a white piece of paper to your skin, you are nowhere near the white at all. That is white. If you got a white shirt on, that is white. The thing is, you are all colors of us as minorities, that black people, right? We just all different shades. That's all it is. Try the experiment when y'all get home, you know? So when I sit here and let y'all know that I love y'all, but I do not know I love your wicked ways, that our Lord and Savior will deal with that. I'll say it again. I love y'all. I do. But not everybody who screams, Lord, Lord, will enter into the kingdom of heaven.
Amen.
KDOT, followed by Laura McLaughlin.
Good evening, Aurora. I'd like to go back to the law. I'm not gonna lie. Debbie, you pissed me off because you made my auntie cry, and I have an issue with that. So, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, abridged the freedom of speech or of the freedom of press, the right to the people peacefully, and assembling, and the petition of government for redress grievance. That's what we're doing right here. So, Debbie, I asked you a question. Where the fuck were you when multiple young black men were slayed by Aurora police? Ma'am, you are the biggest clown in this damn room, and it fits your description perfectly, because with the red hair and the red lipstick and the fucking cake on your goddamn face and the clown outfit that you got on, you got some fucking nerve to sit here and try to restrict our speech. Did you even come to my auntie and say, I'm sorry for your loss? Did you come to any of the families and say, I'm sorry for your loss? What can I do? But you're in a place of leadership in the mental health department? You gotta be fucking kidding me. You are a hypocrite, ma'am. You are a fucking old ass hypocrite.
Please address council.
And fuck you.
Please address council.
My speech will not, or anybody's speech, will not be restricted, just like your speech for coming up here and saying what you just said. But the thing is, I didn't tell you couldn't say it. I'm just simply responding with the same speech that you first attribute to, which is the First Amendment. And I also have one more thing to say. You quote your scriptures, but let me be very, very clear. Demons know scriptures as well. That's all I have to say.
Laura McLaughlin, followed by Aaron Contreras.
I'm on a kind of different note tonight. Last city council, I watched something very powerful take place. A large amount of youth gave very impacting, powerful speeches against the SAVE program. Shout out to the youth for speaking up against this program. As a parent, I lost my marbles when I heard about the SAVE program. Not just this profiling program, but the fact that not all but enough Aurora City Council voted not to work with community nonprofit organizations that are out here working with the youth and trying to help the youth. There are no decent rec centers, libraries, community centers, basketball courts, art centers, pools, parks, nothing for the youth to do in the community But instead of working with the community to better the community for our youth, Aurora City Council is saying that if you don't have the same skin complexion as I do, the Aurora police will kill our children and the city will profile them, continuing the school to prison pipeline, locking our children up. So to our youth, keep standing up, keep speaking out, level up and come take these city council jobs. I'd like to give a big shout out, it's crazy that all y'all are here, to Kylan Lewis's family, Jalen Sebron's family, and Medine for giving me my voice to the community, for educating me and getting me involved. So community, speak out, show up. Youth, let's stop what is going on. There is a lot of wrong that is going on in this community, and we're building a community that is saying we're tired of the wrong that is going on in Aurora. There is a community that is building, and they're growing, and they're getting bigger. There's got to be a change. There's got to be a change. Your youth are afraid of the police. Why? Because they're watching people like them get killed. It's on video. They're afraid of the police. But what are we doing to help them? There are nonprofit organizations that you guys don't want to work with. That's scary. We can't change, but I promise you these kids are getting bigger. We saw them stand up. We heard their voices. So you kids keep showing up, keep speaking out. Come get these jobs and make a change. Because that's what's got to happen. We got to come together as a community and make a change.
Aaron?
Katie, give me your contact info.
Yes. Aaron Contreras, followed by Tristan Hoost.
Good afternoon, City Council. My name's Aaron Contreras, and I represent Colorado Carpenters Local 555. Members of the City Council, I'm here to speak in support of a construction transparency ordinance that ensures our community is fully informed not only just about what is being built, but who is actually behind the jobs that are being built. Transparency builds trust. When people can easily access clear information about construction, timelines, impacts, and progress, it reduces confusion and frustration. But just as important, transparency shouldn't extend to workforce commitments. Residents of Aurora deserve to know whether these projects are creating real opportunities through registered apprenticeships and local hiring. This ordinance would also help reduce conflicts and delays. Too often, in construction, a lack of communication leads to complaints or oppositions that could have been avoided. By proactively sharing information, including apprenticeship participation, we create a smoother process for everyone involved. Accountability is another key benefit. Public reporting tools can track not only project milestones, but also whether developers are meeting apprenticeship goals. That ensures these projects deliver on their promise to train the next generation of skilled workforce. We also have to recognize the day-to-day impact of construction. The noise, the traffic, the disruption are real concerns. But when residents see that these projects are investing in local careers and economic growth, they're more likely to view them as net positive. Finally, this ordinance is about the future. By embedding apprenticeship transparency into our policies, we're strengthening our local workforce pipeline, supporting good-paying jobs, and ensuring that the benefits of development stay right here in our community. I encourage you to support this effort and to make construction in our city more transparent, more accountable, and more beneficial to everyone. I appreciate your guys' time. Thank you very much.
Katie, could you give me his information, please?
Katie, can I get that information?
Katie, can I get that contact information as well?
Yes.
And me as well.
Okay, Councilmember Coombs, Andrews, and Hancock? Just these three? Okay, thank you. Tristan Hoost?
Good evening, Aurora City Council. My name is Tristan, you knew that, Ward 1, and I am with the Denver Aurora Community Action Committee. Tonight, we saw a bunch of faith leaders speaking about decorum. They are upset that some of us have used strong language. They say we need to be more respectful. Let me be clear about what is happening here. The conservatives on this dais lost their majority. They could not stop us from showing up, and they could not stop us from demanding accountability. So now they are sending their allies to lecture us about our tone while ignoring the violence we are here to stop. Decorum. A 23-year-old named Amar Garlington is dead. APD sent a canine officer to a mental health crisis. That is not de-escalation, that is an execution protocol. Corey Dillard is dead. An officer who stole drugs from evidence murdered him, and Todd Chamberlain covered it up. Rashad Johnson is dead. The department hid body camera footage from his own family. Rajon Belt Stubblefield is dead, punched in the back of the head using de-escalatory punching, apparently, while he was turned away. Javi Ball Mason is dead, 17 years old, and the chief of police spread transphobic lies about them. Kylan Lewis is dead. He was holding a cell phone. But sure, let's talk about decorum. Let's talk about how it feels to watch your loved one's name dragged through the mud by a police chief who calls them a terrorist. Let's talk about how it feels to beg this council for help, meeting after meeting, year after year, while more names are added to the list. You want decorum. I want my community to stop being murdered. I have not threatened anyone, I have not called for violence, and I have done what the Constitution guarantees. I have come before my government to demand change. And if the worst thing I do is say a swear word while describing a police killing, then I am still more respectful than the police chief who lies about the dead. These faith leaders claim to serve a God of justice. Where's their outrage over the killings? Where are their speeches about the blood on APD's hands? Where is their demand that Todd Chamberlain be fired? Instead, they are here to silence us, to make us more polite while our neighbors are buried. I will not be polite about murder. Fire Todd Chamberlain, give us community control of the police, and stop hiding behind calls for decorum while the real indecency is happening in your police department.
That was the last individual.
Motion is in order for the adoption of the consent decree. What's that? Is there one more?
Consent calendar.
Consent calendar. Oh, motion is in order for the adoption of the consent calendar on motions, item number 10A through 10C3.
So next one will be, so.
Mayor,
Mayor Pro Tem.
move to adopt the consent calendar on motions.
It's been moved by Mayor Pro Tem, seconded by
Mayor, second.
Councilmember Lawson for the adoption of the consent decree on motions. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, call for the question on the consent decree on motions. Consent calendar on motions.
Mayor Kaufman?
Mayor votes yes.
Knock that out of your head.
Councilmember Andrews?
Yes.
Councilmember Horton? Councilmember Jackson? The motion passes unanimously to adopt the consent calendar for motions.
Next question before us is the adoption of the consent calendar on resolutions and ordinances, item number 11A1 to 11B2.
Mayor, I want to pull 11A.
Six. So now we need a motion for everything except 11A6 and
Mayor.
resolution ordinances.
Sorry, Mayor Pro Tem?
Move to approve item 11A1 through 11A5 and 11B1 through 11B2.
It's been moved by Mayor Pro Tem, seconded by?
Medina.
Second by Councilmember Medina. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, call for the question on the consent calendar on resolutions and ordinances 11A1 through 11A5 and 11B1 through 11B2. Discussion? Seeing none, call for the question on the adoption of the consent calendar on resolutions and ordinances as amended.
Councilmember Andrews?
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously to adopt the consent calendar for resolutions and ordinances with item 11A6 removed.
Clerk, now please read the title to item number 11A6.
Item 11A6.
I apologize. Can I call for a brief recess?
Very well. The time is now 7:45. We will reconvene at 8 o'clock.
Officer-involved shootings by the Aurora Police Department.
Councilmember Andrews.
And Mayor, we do have individuals who would like to speak on this item.
Sure, what we'll do, Katie, if it's okay with council, is we'll do this first process first, and then we'll hear from the speakers if that's okay with council. Go ahead, Councilmember Andrews.
I think we want to pull it and amend it, and I think Councilmember Jackson's going to read the amendment.
Okay, so I'll walk you guys through it, because I know this is the second time we're going to do a motion to substitute in 6 months, and I haven't done any of these in the last 4 years since I've been here, so it's fun, right? So the first motion to substitute would be that you would ask that the amended resolution would replace the one that was in the agenda packet. It's not voting on the merits, it's just replacing the one that I sent over to council a little earlier today during the meeting. And then you'll consider that one, then we'll hear from the public on that one, then you can do amendments and debate and then vote on that final process. So right now, Councilmember Jackson, I need a motion to substitute.
A motion to substitute the current resolution with the updated one.
Perfect.
Second.
Okay, moved by Councilmember Jackson, seconded by
Wiles.
Councilmember Wiles.
And now would be the appropriate time to read what would be the substitution.
Okay. Here's what we have as a substitution, and I do just want to thank Councilmember Andrews for taking initiative on this resolution, working with community members, and his collaboration on this project, on this resolution. All right, the new resolution reads, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Aurora, Colorado, expressing the Aurora City Council's position respecting officer-involved shootings at the Aurora Police Department. Whereas the City Council acknowledges that members of the Aurora Police Department, like all major metropolitans, public safety departments have been involved in officer-involved shootings in recent years, and whereas some incidents have resulted in lost lives, leaving many with profound loss and grief and mental anguish, whereas in 2020, the Colorado General Assembly passed Senate Bill 2021-7, Enhanced Law Enforcement Integrity, creating additional accountability measures and oversight mechanisms for law enforcement agencies across the state. And whereas some community members have continued to raise concerns regarding use of force, racial disparities in policing, and public trust in law enforcement since the adoption of the consent decree. Whereas any loss of life is tragic where officer-involved shooting incidents occur, it is a tragedy that uniquely affects the fabric of our community, including the lives of officers, their friends, families, and supporters. City Council stands in mourning with all who are adversely affected by tragic events. Whereas the individuals and families have filed claims and lawsuits regarding these officer-involved incidents. However, Council understands that in most cases, the city must defend those lawsuits as the city attorney has the obligation to protect the fiduciary interest of the Aurora citizens and taxpayers. Whereas while individual council members may have independent personal opinions regarding these cases, City Council does not have a role in the day-to-day litigation of these matters and shall refrain from commenting publicly on any matters with pending claims or litigation of these matters in order to protect the best legal interests of the city. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Aurora, Colorado, that Section 1, City Council empathizes with all community members and families in mourning the community impact of officer-involved shootings, including those deemed legally justified. Section 2, the City Council, as the governing body of the City of Aurora, expresses sorrow for the loss of life, particularly when life is lost during interactions with government institutions entrusted with public safety, including law enforcement. And finally, Section 3, the City Council commits to continued efforts to improve community trust and transparency with the Aurora Police Department and other related governmental partners, and to support policies that advance accountability, public safety, and equitable treatment for all residents.
Mayor?
Sorry, who's that? Councilmember Bergen.
Yes. So I'm actually shocked about this substitute resolution because I had had a conversation actually before the last study session with Councilmember Andrews about the resolution that you see in your packet, and he was good with it. And we had a phone conversation, a very pleasant conversation. And then at the study session, I reiterated that I would not support the resolution as is, that I would like to offer a more balanced approach to the officer-involved shooting resolution. And Councilmember Andrews agreed to work with me again. So once on the phone before, and then at the study session. Then last week, Councilmember Andrews called me and told me that he was going to accept my resolution, which some of the words are still in the one that Councilmember Jackson just read, that he was going to accept my resolution completely like it is. There was one little minor change in it that I was fine with. And let me tell you, he has lied to my face before. I was giving him a second chance to have a good colleague relationship as a council person. And he literally, because I wrote it down, he said, I give you my word that I will accept your resolution and that I am saying no to Councilmember Jackson. She wants to do an amendment and I'm telling her no. And he gave me his word. He told me he would not accept any other amendments. And now this is what we have before us. So I'm very disappointed, in the spirit of trying to work across the aisle. This is what I get. And I just want to say something else because I'm so upset. Councilmember Andrews, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Unbelievable.
Okay.
I'm not in support, obviously.
So again, and Councilmember Bergen's comments were appropriate on the motion. So again, the motion on the floor is whether or not to substitute the motion that Councilmember Jackson just read from the one that was in the packet. Then we'll discuss, you guys will discuss, and we'll hear from public comment and everything else on the substitute motion before it's voted on the merits.
Okay.
Mayor, can I just respond? I just want to give context that there are more than 2 people on the city council, and I think that other folks had conversations with Councilmember Andrews as
he gave me his word.
Okay, let's speak to the resolution directly. Let's speak to the motion directly.
Yeah.
The
Mayor?
substitute motion.
Yeah.
Who's it?
Mayor?
Councilmember Horton.
Procedural question. If I wanted to make any amendments to the language, it's now the time to do so?
No, so now
Okay.
this is just if this motion passes and this becomes the motion that we're debating and discussing, you would then make amendments in the second phase.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, further discussion on the Jackson substitute motion? Seeing none, call for the question on the Jackson substitute motion. 211A6.
Councilmember Andrews?
Yes.
Councilmember Bergen?
Well, you know I'm a no because he lied to my face.
The motion passes with 6 yes votes, 4 no votes from Councilmember Bergen, Gardner, Hancock, and Lawson to accept the substitute resolution.
Okay, public, does anybody wish to speak on 11A6?
Median Schaffner, followed by LaRonda Jones.
As someone who has been in this community, the Black community of Colorado, all of my life, I know and I understand, and I have watched what it means to be symbolic, what it means to gesture, what it means to signal, and what it means to formally act. while this resolution is an opportunity for you all to engage in thoughtful language that the community can review, can hear, and to witness, bear witness to, we know that the resolution is not structural change. So I want to be clear about that as I go into my words of support for this resolution. For far too long, we have had systems of government, individuals that hold up those systems of government, not take the time to simply linger in the humanity of its people, especially when that system is causing harm, pain, and death. What you as a body have an opportunity to do is to simply linger and acknowledge the humanity of the individuals who are harmed. When you come and approach this as a zero sum, where it has to be one or the other, you are creating division inside of a community that is looking for you to actually be cohesive. So as we listen to Councilwoman Bergen speak into this as if she was betrayed, that is really a hard act to even have empathy for or sympathy for.
You believe in the Bible, he lied. He gave me his word.
Right there. Yeah, right there.
Okay.
Already broken.
So with that being said, Councilwoman Bergen, this is not about you. This is about an opportunity for you as a council to simply say, we hear you. What is this resolution going to do? This is not law. We're ready to put pressure and collaboration on the law piece. We're ready. But this resolution is now an opportunity for you to simply linger in humanity. Vote.
Jones, LaRonda Jones, followed by Veronica Sebron.
I want to say thank you, each and every one of you guys that voted yes. Thank you, Rob, because you put it forward. And the rest followed in pursuit. So I appreciate you guys because it means a lot to me. It's been a long time coming. This is the second go around for this resolution. The first time it was shot down by the same ones that were shot down this time. I'm not surprised at all. But I'm so thankful that we have progressive now. That we can, this is a time for change, to see change, to work through change, to collaborate together, to work out these problems and to the very last letter, detailed. So it can be less, I would like to see no killings, but I don't know about that, but to see less. And not to say that police lives don't matter, police officers, because they are people too. They're human as well, so their lives matter as well. So we're not saying, oh, let's just all feel sympathy for the people in the public and not for the officers. That's not what we're saying. We're saying let's come together and remedy this problem that Aurora has, that every state know about. This is the time to take the opportunity to do just that. Put aside your feelings and your differences and look what's best for this community as a whole, which includes the officers, because if they live here, work within the city of Aurora, they're part of it, just like everyone else is. So why not take that opportunity to say yes to the resolution? Put your feelings aside, whatever it may be,
because you guys always say you're looking for change. We want something better. We hate to see the families coming up here, or we feel sympathy, all this and that. But then the moment an officer get hurt, shot, killed, then it's all sympathy for the officers. But what about the people, the public? I say it should be sympathy for everybody. Everybody. And that's where our hearts should be. So why not vote yes to make this stronger and better? Thank you.
Veronica Sebron, followed by Ayante Anderson.
Tonight, I want to speak honestly about the resolution. I want to acknowledge some clarity. This resolution shows impact. It shows that the lives we have buried, the families who continue to grieve, and that the voices that have filled this chamber again and again have not been ignored. It shows that this council has heard the community. It shows that you recognize there is a problem that must be addressed. So I want to first, before I continue with this written speech, address Ms. Bergen. Last time I addressed you, I spoke on your fire, and I see that again. It's a fire when you're opposed. And I want to say, Rob, I see you. At least thank you for hearing us and giving us something. There is a start. And I want to address the matters. The matters because far too long, our pain was treated like noise. Matters that far too long because our requests were dismissed as impossible or inconvenient. It matters far too long when families like mine are left to fight alone and tears are unseen. So yes, this resolution is a start. It is a sign of a movement. I still want you to hold that a start is not a solution, it is a signal. Because the impact we are talking about is not theatrical, it is not political, it is not symbolic, it is lives lost. It is families shattered, it is children growing up without parents. It is communities living in fear, trauma, and unanswered questions. The impact is buried in the ground and carried in the bodies every single day. So that while this resolution shows that you have heard us, whether you will move from acknowledgement to accountability. Now the question is whether you will move from recognition to responsibility, whether you will move from symbolic gestures to structural change. Because the community is not asking for statements, we are asking for safeguards. We are asking for promises. We are asking for policies. We are asking for sympathy. We are asking for systems that prevent the next family from standing where I stand. A resolution is a start, but the families deserve a finish that includes transparency, a finish that includes accountability, proactive protections, so no more lives are lost and no more families are forced to fight. We see the impact of our advocacy reflected in this resolution. Now we need to see the impact of your leadership reflected in your actions. It is time for you to take a stand. We have come to you over and over, and it is now an opportunity for you to take this vote and take that opportunity.
Ayante Anderson, followed by Tristan Hoost.
I am struggling with the proper words to be able to address some of what the frustrations of the council member who spoke via Zoom shared. I think, unfortunately, Councilmember Bergen, you are experiencing what I would call a Uno reverse card. The anger you are feeling about this resolution being changed from underneath you because somebody gave you their word is the anger that these black mothers continue to face in the city of Aurora when their children are being lowered into grounds, and nothing comes from this council. The anger you are feeling is the feeling that community had when a young black boy who played the violins for animals at the animal shelters was injected with ketamine and murdered by the Aurora Fire Department and the Aurora Police Department. The anger you are feeling is the anger of the widow that Rajon Belt Stubblefield feels when her husband was punched in the back of his head, turns around to defend himself, and was shot in the city of Aurora. The anger you feel is when an unarmed black man holds a cell phone above his head and says, "I ain't got nothing," and is shot in the middle of the street in the city of Aurora. That is the anger his mother and his brother and entire family feels every single day. So I don't give a damn about a resolution being changed underneath you. I don't give a damn about your council members that voted in the negative, about your feelings about a piece of paper. You know this ain't gonna do nothing. You know that when we walk out of these doors, the likelihood of somebody looking like me to be shot and killed by an APD officer after this resolution is passed is still the same as if it was not passed. So I am grateful for the acknowledgement. Thank you, Councilmember Andrews. Thank you, Councilmember Jackson, and anybody else that provides feedback or provided feedback in the affirmative of this. But a piece of paper is not going to save a life. Only real systemic change through changing the ordinances of this city's charter will save somebody's life. We'll see what you do when this resolution is called.
Tristan Hoost, followed by Cassandra Hill.
Good evening, again, Aurora City Council. My name is Tristan, and I am with the Denver Aurora Community Action Committee, DACAC. I am speaking on agenda item 11A6, the resolution regarding officer-involved shootings. I want to start by saying this. I appreciate the resolution acknowledges loss of life and the profound grief that follows. That is more than this council has said in the past, at all, ever, and I will not pretend otherwise. For that reason, I support this, although I will say that it does not go far enough. And I need to tell you why. Section 1 of this resolution says the council empathizes with the community members and families, including those of officers who were found legally justified in their actions by the district attorney. Let me stop right there. You are putting the families of police officers who killed someone on the same level of the families of the people they killed. You are mourning with the shooter's family while the victim's family sits in these very chambers still waiting for justice. 2 years later, May 23rd, by the way, in case you forgot. That is not empathy, that is equivocation. The district attorney finding an officer legally justified does not mean the killing was right. It does not mean the family's grief is less valid. It does not mean the officer's actions were necessary. It means the legal system, a system that almost never holds a police accountable. Brian Mason said that he has never held a police officer accountable, has decided not to prosecute. Those are not the same thing. And Section 2 says this council shall refrain from commenting publicly on any matters with pending claims or litigation. I understand the legal reasoning, but here is the problem. That silence is a shield. It protects the police department while families are left in the dark, waiting years for answers. It allows this council to say nothing while Todd Chamberlain lies about the dead on live television. You want to express empathy, then do something. Voting in this resolution would be one thing. It's the start, as was previously mentioned. Call for the release of body camera footage immediately after every officer-involved shooting. Stop hiding behind pending litigation as an excuse for silence. And for God's sake, stop putting the families of officers in the same sentence as the families of the people their officers killed. I am grateful that someone on this council finally acknowledged that these deaths are tragic. But tragedy demands action, not just words. These words are a start. Empathy without accountability is just performance. So if you really mean that what this resolution says, prove it. Fire Todd Chamberlain, release the footage, and give us community control of the police. Otherwise, this resolution is just another way of doing nothing while our neighbors are buried. That said, it is a start, and you should still vote for it. Thank you.
Cassandra Heel, followed by Michael Hancock.
Hello. I am in full support that the City Council recognizes the impact cop violence has on the community, but I don't think an apology is enough. I think the city needs to do everything it can to remove these killer cops in uniform from their jobs and put them behind bars for their crimes against the people of Aurora. They abuse their power to violently attack citizens, stripping them of their Fourth Amendment right to a fair trial, and these killer cops have the power to do it again. This is a step forward, but it's a small step. It is not enough. You need to give the community control and say over how they are policed.
Michael Hancock, followed by Ali DeWills Marcano.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. I want to begin by saying this plainly. Opposing this resolution is not the same thing as opposing compassion. Every death leaves grief. Some in families mourn, some friends mourn, some in the community grieve. That's human. That is real, and no decent person should pretend otherwise. But government has a different role. The job of the city is not merely to fill, it is to judge carefully, to make distinctions, and to speak with moral clarity. That is why I oppose this resolution. It asks City of Aurora to adopt an official posture of mourning every police shooting that results in death, whether that shooting is justified or not. And that is the problem, because those are not morally the same thing. Every death is a loss, but not every loss is an injustice. If an officer acts unlawfully, abusively, or recklessly, the process in place should address it fully, and there should be accountability. But if an officer lawfully uses force to protect life, that carries a different moral meaning, and the council should not speak as though it does not. Doing so is not compassion. It's wallowing in confusion. That places anyone who believes in real justice in the role of being villains. And beyond that, this resolution is institutionally unwise. Even if it may survive legal scrutiny as government speech, it still risks sending the message that this city is making a moral judgment before facts, due process, and legal review have done their work. That is not the role of government. Government should not adopt symbolic language that blurs the line between sympathy and guilt, between sorrow and blame, between justified force and wrongdoing. Aurora can absolutely express sympathy for grieving families. Aurora can insist on transparency. Aurora can demand accountability when accountability is due. But Aurora should not confuse grief with guilt. This city does not need to be less humane to be more clear-eyed. It can be compassionate without surrendering moral clarity. I urge this council to reject this resolution. Thank you.
Ali DeWills Marcano.
me just a moment, sorry. Still trying to figure out how to bend my neck. All right. I have used this metaphor before, but it was for the previous council, so indulge me for a moment while I explain it to the new folks. It goes a little something like this. There is a drowning person. Their head is underwater. They are sinking fast beneath the surface and swallowing water in their lungs. The only things on the surface are their last air bubbles and one hand waving above the surface frantically. And out of nowhere, another hand reaches out. Are they here to save the drowning? Can they grab the hand that will soon disappear underwater? No, the other hand is not here to save. The other hand is here for a high five. Way to go, super job drowning, buddy. This horrific metaphor comes to mind so frequently when I speak to my elected officials, because high fives are nice, even inspiring and helpful and validating for someone experiencing struggle. But when they come from someone who has the power to do so much more than run a sweet up, high, down, low, too slow game, it is crushing. And I want to be clear, that's what we're doing here. A high five is nice. It's good, it's fine. As someone unelected, empathy is unfortunately the very most that I can offer these families. It is the very definition of the least that you can do. You absolutely should have the power to express empathy and sympathy to constituents. This is good legislation. It should pass easily. If you vote against it, you're definitely on the wrong side of history and not fit for service to this community, which has experienced disproportionate police violence and murder at the hands of those who were hired to protect and serve them. But it is imperative that you, as the hands that have been elected to do so much more than just a high five, do not let this be the extent of your work. You have been called to hold Chief Chamberlain accountable. You have been called to formulate and enact rules and processes that could reduce or, God willing, prevent police violence against Black Aurorans from happening again. You must do that, whatever it takes by any means necessary, and you are the ones with the means. I know there are many people who will tell you that you do not have power, but that is how they are conspiring to disempower you. You were elected to power. You just have to actually use it. Hear the people whose only power is screaming empathy into this void every single week. We need you to seize the moment and do so much more than high-five us while we are drowning.
That was the last individual to speak.
A motion is in order for the adoption of the substitute amendment.
The substitute motion of 11A6.
Substitute motion to
Substitute resolution of 11A6.
substitute
Resolution of 11A6.
resolution to 11A6. Discussion?
Mayor.
Main motion.
I thought, Mayor Pro Tem.
Motion, yeah. Move to adopt the substitute resolution for 11A6.
Moved by Mayor Pro Tem, seconded by,
I had some edits.
Yeah, you can do that. Yeah, so following the motion, yep. Yeah, we just need a second first. Medina.
seconded by Councilmember Medina. Discussion on the substitute motion?
Okay. Mayor,
Councilmember Horton.
I'm ready. Friendly amendment, can we add in the whereas number 4, for it to read racially and ethnic disparities in policing? It is a more aligned with the criminal justice space in which we understand that Hispanic Latino is considered an ethnicity and not a race.
So you're asking an ethnicity between racial and disparities?
And, yes, correct.
Will you, Councilmember Jackson and Councilmember Andrews, will you accept that as a friendly? It doesn't, yeah, I think it's legally, it's correct, so. Okay. Katie, did you get that? Okay, so fourth whereas, so it's going to be racial and ethnic disparities. Is that ethnicity disparities or ethnic disparities? Councilman Horton.
It reads, so usually it's like racial and ethnic disparities in policing?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, that sounds better? Okay.
Ethnic, yeah, that's perfect, okay.
Further discussion? I'm sorry.
Mayor Gardner.
Councilmember Gardner.
I'd like to propose an amendment in the 6th whereas clause. It currently says, as the city attorney has obligation to protect the fiduciary interests of the Aurora citizens taxpayers. Before city attorney, I'd like to add city council because of course we have the same fiduciary duty.
I think that would be correct legally as well. Councilmember Andrews, Councilmember Jackson, will you accept that as a friendly amendment? So it'll read, as the city council and the city attorney have the obligation to protect the fiduciary interests of the Aurora citizens/taxpayers. Is that okay? Awesome. All right, Katie, so we've got, as the city council and the city attorney have the obligations to protect the fiduciary interests of the Aurora citizens/taxpayers.
Okay, further discussion?
Mayor Gardner.
Councilmember Hancock, and then Councilmember Gardner.
Oh, you could let him finish.
Go to Gardner.
I think
Councilmember Gardner.
something else.
Yeah, so I guess just a couple of comments or a couple of thoughts on this, and I'm going to try to choose my words carefully because I know there's a lot of emotions tied up in this, and I think the disappointing thing that I have seen is this discussion or this argument has become very all one side or the other. And, as with most things in life, there is nuance. And particularly in the matters that this resolution is dealing with, there's a significant amount of nuance. I think several things can be true. I think, as a human and as also an elected leader, I can say that, it's tragic what's happened, that I feel bad for family members, regardless of the circumstances. I think that could be true. And I think it also can be true that, like this resolution acknowledges, in some of these cases or in most of them, the shootings were deemed legally justified, and that also city council does not have a role in the day-to-day litigation of these matters. So, I think it's disappointing that some have framed, supporting this as being anti-police. I don't think it's anti-police. I think, it's an acknowledgement that there is hurt and pain in our community. While the city council didn't pull the trigger, I think as one commenter put it earlier, we certainly can feel sympathy for those families. I think, that's a responsible thing to do. I'm not sure that there's a lot of, I guess it's sad to me that we've gotten so far away from our humanity that purely saying that, I feel bad for these community members and families is anti-police. I don't think that's the case. And I would hope that we haven't become that removed from who we are as humans and who we are, kind of outside of this chamber. I have a long history of being supportive of our police department. There are certainly things that have happened in the past, though, that have had an impact on some people in our community. And I think it's appropriate to acknowledge that. And I don't think that that's an anti-police position. And I know that there's going to be some people that say that it is. There's going to be some people that go on social media and, say Curtis hates the police or whatever. And I know other people are going to say, well, Curtis didn't really mean what he said. And I don't really, I can't worry about that. I have to do what I think is best in my heart and in my head. And to me, I think it's appropriate to say that, we mourn with these community members that lost loved ones.
Further discussion?
Mayor.
Mayor Pro Tem and then Councilmember Hancock.
Okay. So first of all, thank you, Councilmember Andrews, for bringing this forward. I think that the resolution that has resulted from conversation that Councilmember Andrews chose to engage in from folks on both sides of the aisle has resulted in empathy for the impact on families of the people killed and on the officers, which is what was asked for in our study session. He faced two opposing approaches and brought the two together with a lot of effort from other members. And so certainly thank you, Councilmember Bergen, for the time that you spent with Councilmember Andrews to advocate for the things that you found important in this resolution. And I think the core ones, right, you wanted us to be balanced and acknowledge the impact on police, is there. But also, thank you, Councilmember Jackson, and a number of my other colleagues for coming back to Councilmember Andrews and saying, you know, we want to make sure that while we're making that acknowledgement of the police, that we don't completely decenter the families who do not have the institutional power that the police have on multiple levels, right? The police have the institutional power of being backed by the city by default. And so, yes, we should still have empathy for them because they're still human beings. But we also have to make sure that we're not losing sight of centering the families who are suffering and who are often having to fight against the city to have their voices heard and to get just that basic acknowledgement of empathy and care. So thank you, Councilmember Andrews, for threading that needle. I know you dealt with a lot of pressure on both sides, and I really respect that you found a way to build something that you could stand on. And so with that, I also certainly appreciate Councilmember Gardner for recognizing this for what it is, which is that we as human beings who are also elected leaders can express and have empathy without undermining our government. And with that, I hope that everyone will support.
Councilmember Hancock.
Thank you, Mayor. This has turned out to be a really contentious issue for reasons that I'm still trying to grapple with. And I appreciate the effort that has been made by Councilmember Andrews. Listening to the commentary of people tonight, I heard over and over again, we're doing this, doesn't mean anything, but it's not enough. When is it going to be enough? I believe in the proper role of government, and the proper role of government from my perspective is to ensure that our laws are followed, that the people we elect and that the people who serve this city are held accountable if they do wrong, that we should keep our city safe, we should keep our streets clean, all of the things. I think we expose ourselves unnecessarily because I think over and over, ever since the first incident occurred when I was on council with Kylan Lewis and the family, I remember all of us standing up saying that we supported them, we felt sorry, our hearts go out to the families, and all of those things. To codify this in a resolution, I'm not sure is really in our best interest and the proper role of government. I'm not going to support this. I appreciate the effort, and I want you to know that. But this, to me, it will not, as I said to you personally, this will not satisfy, it will not get people what they want. I'm not even sure what it is anymore because the dialogue and the rhetoric back and forth has been so contentious and so volatile. I don't know that this will be the resolution that you're looking for. It will give you the answer that you want. I also think that there are some cases going on right now. Those cases should be the ones that should be decided, and I don't know that this resolution is going to have the impact that you want here. So I'm going to be a no on this.
Further discussion? Seeing none, I call for the question on the adoption of 11A6 as amended.
Councilmember Andrews.
Yes.
The motion passes with 7 yes votes, 3 no votes from Councilmember Bergen, Hancock, and Lawson to approve item 11A6 with the substituted resolution.
Will the clerk now please read the title to item number 13A?
Item 13A is introduction of ordinance 2016-16, amending section 2812 of the Aurora City Code with regard to the Commission for Older Adults.
Brief presentation by staff.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor Kaufman. I'm Brian Green. I'm the Director of Parks, Recreation, Open Space. This ordinance is a bit of cleanup in regards to the work we did on boards and commissions in 2025. This would make the term limits for the commissioners on the Commission for Older Adults the same as the rest of the boards and commissions. So it's a very simple change in ordinance.
Questions of staff? Seeing none, a motion is in order.
Mayor,
Mayor Pro Tem.
move to approve item 13A.
It's moved by Mayor Pro Tem, seconded by.
Second.
I'm sorry, seconded by Councilmember Wiles. To approve item number 13A. Discussion?
Mayor,
Mayor Pro Tem.
just briefly want to thank our staff for, tracking with these seemingly small changes and seemingly random changes that result from the decisions, the bigger decisions we make as a council, and ensuring that we follow up on those items.
Will the clerk now, I'm sorry. Further discussion? Seeing none, call for the question on item number 13A.
Councilmember Andrews.
Yes.
Councilmember Hancock. Thank you. The motion passes unanimously to adopt item 13A.
Will the clerk now please read the title to item number 13B?
Item 13B is introduction of ordinance 2026-17, amending section 2297 of the Aurora City Code concerning members of the library board.
Brief presentation by staff.
Hi, good evening. I'm Ginger White Bernetti, Director of Library and Cultural Services. Before you tonight is a code change similar to the one you just heard with the consolidation of boards and commissions that took place in 2025. We wanted to update and modernize some of the code as it relates to the library board and the bylaws, specifically aligning with Resolution 2025-78, which was again adopted in August. This also makes changes to how we conduct email voting, aligning with Colorado open meeting laws, for instance, how the secretary is selected to be a vote of the board, and allows us to increase the number of participants from 7 up to 15 members, similar to the resolution or the ordinance that you passed in August, aligning with our Arts and Culture Commission. And then lastly, broadening our membership to include people who live or work in Aurora, including unincorporated Aurora. And with that, that's what this is before you for.
Questions of staff? Seeing none, thank you. Motion is in order for the adoption of item number 13B.
Mayor,
Mayor Pro Tem.
move to approve item 13B.
Moved by the Mayor Pro Tem, seconded by?
Second.
Seconded by Councilmember Horton to approve item number 13B. Discussion?
Mayor,
Mayor Pro Tem.
just also, again, thanking our staff for taking care of things that we did not at the time when we passed that resolution. Appreciate your work.
I'm sorry. Councilmember Bergen.
So we're talking about adding the non-residents to the board that are part of unincorporated Arapahoe County?
Staff.
This is, sorry.
Please.
Yep. This also aligns with the resolution that you all passed in 2025, which allows for people who live or work in Aurora, including unincorporated Aurora, to be part of the library board.
And what was the reason back then? I don't remember.
There was no questions that came before this group, but the idea was that we have lots of people who are interested in serving on a board who work in the city of Aurora, as well as those who reside in Aurora. And so we wanted to give that opportunity to those who know our community well, but may not reside in the city.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Further, are there any other questions of staff? Further discussion? Seeing none, call for the question on the adoption of item number 13B.
Councilmember Andrews?
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously to adopt item 13B.
Reports, Councilmember Andrews.
No report.
Mayor Pro Tem Coombs.
Thank you, Mayor. A number of really exciting events and activities have been happening in the city in the last several weeks. I was able to attend, along with the mayor, the opening of the Mosaic of Cultures, Aurora's Filipino Community exhibit at the Aurora History Museum. So this continues on the tradition that we've had of acknowledging the diverse cultures within our city and working with community members and community leaders to put together exhibits that acknowledge that cultural richness and create the opportunity for our small but mighty Aurora History Museum to be part of telling the stories of living history in the city of Aurora. I also had the opportunity to, at the museum last week, read a proclamation for Aurora's 135th birthday. And we had a little birthday party, cake, etc. there at the museum, and a number of community members and staff were in attendance. In terms of some, and our Colfax BRT groundbreaking was this last Friday, which is super exciting. We get to move forward with building out that BRT that will provide more transit opportunities in our city. And then in terms of some of the policy items, I did meet with some community members on ideas about rental registry and licensing program, which we'll be bringing forward a resolution about this month. And then the Rules Committee, we had our first open discussion session on specifically decorum, which isn't something we usually do within our Rules Committee, but I really appreciated the community members and families that came and spoke into that space and talked about the importance of acknowledgement, but also about how we as council can engage with community in a way that's welcoming, in a way that creates an opening for conversation. And there were also a number of meaningful suggestions that came through the survey, as well as through that participation and that engagement with the community. So I really want to thank the folks that came and engaged thoughtfully in that process. The mayor and Deputy City Manager Perry and I also did have the opportunity to conduct the first group of Downtown Development Authority Board interviews this last week, and we have one more round of 6 interviews that will be conducted tomorrow from 3:30 to 7:30 in the Aurora room here in the council chambers. And we've definitely received some community feedback already. One item that came up is just the amount of notice for those interviews. And I just want to take the lion's share of the accountability on the time that took, because I really pushed up to the last moment of submitting my rankings. And so that is part of why then the scheduling of the interviews happened very quickly, and the announcement of those interviews happened very quickly. I do want to state, though, that we went through that conversation very thoughtfully about who we chose to interview. I spoke with Councilmember Gardner and Councilmember Jackson, who were both involved in the steering committee, saw letters of recommendation that had come from Councilmember Horton within the packets, and reviewed those applications from the members, as did the mayor and Deputy City Manager Perry. There also was the opportunity for community members who were on that steering committee to rank the applications that we received and to provide email comments and letters of recommendation. And the folks that we chose, our first consideration was where were they ranked within the rankings from the steering committee. And then next we looked at the rankings from myself and the mayor and the deputy city manager. And then also things like, was there overlap? Were there folks representing the same organizations or the same interests? In which case, we tried to narrow that down because we got 33 great applications and only get to pick 6 folks. So we are very much committed to looking at that community input that already came, but also those interviews are going to be published on the DDA website. And there will be a couple weeks for folks to review those interviews and provide additional feedback so that we can provide thoughtful recommendations to the rest of council as the nominating committee for the 6 folks that we're going to appoint. I think the other important part is that there are going to be 2 more seats that will come from the CDC, the Community Development Corporation, that's closely linked to this DDA. And so we want to make sure that folks are aware that there's still that additional opportunity to pursue those 2 seats on the board. And I'm sorry if this is very long-winded. I just know that there's some concern in the community and some questions about how we undertook that process and wanted to provide that transparency. And then, sorry, there's been a lot going on lately. Finally, on yesterday, I was able to provide a city proclamation recognizing Buddha Jayanti, or Vesak Day. And that was to the Colorado Buddhist Association and in partnership with the Nepali community. And one of the interesting things that arose from that opportunity to be there in the community was the teaching that was given by the bhikkhu who was present for that celebration, which was that if we really want to boil it all the way down, the teachings of the Buddha are that we should love others and love ourselves. And that doesn't mean just, right, do whatever we want or whatever is feel good. But also that we really genuinely take care to understand each other and to understand our own minds. And that we not just attend to what is outward, what is the appearance. And I think as a public figure, it really struck me because oftentimes the realm that we're operating in is what people see right away, immediately. And so it even caused me to come into today being like, okay, I need to reflect on my own mind and understand where I'm coming from. And I knew that I was coming into today with a lot of heaviness and a lot of emotions for a variety of reasons. And I do need to apologize, I did personally, but to my colleague, Councilmember Hancock, because knowing that I was coming into this meeting with a lot of emotion, or this set of meetings, I was attempting to keep myself cool, and I snapped at her and, was very yelling and not respectful and not upholding the decorum that I think we as a council need to represent to our community as the example of how we share understanding even in disagreement. And so that's, I think we have to continue to be able to do that, to have some personal accountability, personal reflection, and the ability to correct when we make mistakes, and grace for each other to have the space to do so. And that's my report.
Councilmember Gardner?
No report.
Councilmember Jackson?
Thank you. I've got just a couple updates. I did want to let the community know that I attended my first Arapahoe County Justice Coordinating Committee, and there are a lot of really valuable players in the room, like the Arapahoe Sheriff's Department, the DA, the head of the Public Defender's Office, and a lot of other elected officials, community members, and that's just a great space to talk about how we can continue to have oversight of police and engage the community to improve relationships there. I've been working with Councilmember Andrews with a group of residents on Beeler Street in Ward 1, and I just want to shout them out because it's really amazing to see a group of neighbors come together over, issues of public safety, traffic safety, and there's a school near them, Boston Elementary, and this group of individuals just really looks out for the kiddos in that area and is really concerned about their well-being, going from home to school and back and forth. And I think it's just really amazing to see that the residents are utilizing the proper forums to have their voices heard and are open to discussing issues with city council members. So shout out to the Beeler Street group. And then lastly, I did have a chance to briefly attend an Aurora Scholars ceremony. Those all happened over the past couple weeks. And I just want to shout out our amazing staff here at the City of Aurora who ran those and put those on. I think it was really special. I took my 4-year-old daughter to watch one of them, and I was explaining to her that if you do good in school, you get awards. So I think it's just great that the City of Aurora is investing in our youth and takes the time and dedication to run these a little bit tedious ceremonies back to back on late nights, multiple times a week to honor our Aurora Public School scholars. So thank you, staff, for putting that on.
Councilmember Horton.
Thanks, Mayor. A few notes before I go into all the things that have kept me busy the last 2 weeks and what's upcoming. First, I want to thank LaRonda and Veronica as mothers of your sons who have been shot and killed. The fact that you come to these council meetings and you show the strength of what it means to advocate for your loved ones does not go unnoticed. And it's women like you that uphold our community, uphold the voices that need to be heard, and seek the justice that needs to be sought. So thank you. I also want to note that in the news, Aurora Mental Health and Recovery, because of the social safety nets that the federal government has begun, it continues to strip away. They had to cut over 100 jobs, and those were Aurora residents. Those were professionals who service Aurora residents as well. And I just want to acknowledge for those who had to lose their jobs in such a way that, I'm here to continue to brainstorm ways locally we can support all those who are seeking employment, as well as those who continuously want to serve in that capacity. So what's been happening on my end, was able to attend a luncheon around the businesses for the arts. It was very informative of the way in which business and arts intersect. Mayor Kaufman and I, we were able to do a groundbreak. I don't know if it was groundbreaking. We celebrate Arbor Day in Ward 1 at Montview Park. I shoveled some dirt into a hole like twice, and I was like, all right, I'm done, y'all. And so, but I really appreciate all the volunteers that came out, and to really make sure that we keep our designation as a tree city. I also want to thank the Greater Wayside Community Temple, which is right on the border of the Morris Heights neighborhood. They invited me for a town hall, and so I got to see some new folks, meet some new folks, and see and reconnect with old partners, and continue to brainstorm ways in which specifically we could support our youth. This was a very busy Saturday, by the way. We had the Arbor Day, I went to this town hall. My next adventure on that Saturday was the Emmanuel Christian Center. They invited me to come see their food drive initiative they do monthly. And so I was able to just hang out and volunteer for a while. So really thank them for that invitation. Met with Spirit of Aurora, brainstorm ways in which they can continue to have long-lasting impact across our city. Did a council update with members that live in Heather Gardens. Phenomenally, they read the preamble of the Constitution. And I haven't had like a political theory class since I was in college, and it really resonated with me. Beyond even our Pledge of Allegiance, is we have a Constitution, and in the preamble, actually, screw it, my bad. I'm going to read it for y'all, if you don't mind, because I think it's super powerful, and it's a reminder of why democracy continuously needs to be protected. And it reads, "We the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our prosperity. Do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America." I don't know about y'all, but I think that's beautiful. And I really appreciate being in Heather Gardens and being reminded of that. Attended the Colfax Bus Rapid Transit groundbreaking ceremony this past weekend. Was able to speak as an RTD. It was really important as a kid and with my family that RTD was essential to the way we got around. And I'm really excited to now be a future rider on the BRT along Colfax. And I think it's a great opportunity for Ward 1 residents and all those beyond to really access the beautiful parts of Ward 1 and Denver, our neighboring city. I also was invited to attend the Colorado Prayer Luncheon. Really appreciated that invitation, as well as attend a student presentation around global affairs and issues at the Aurora Central High School, where students had taken a window and designed it around a theme that they were passionate about. And so I really like to thank those students. They were very beautiful and such a rich opportunity to hear, again, from our young people, especially about what they're caring about, not only locally, but on the global scale. Now, upcoming, I have a Know Your Rights training, which is going to be this Thursday, May 7th, starting at 6 p.m. at the ABC Community Hub. That's the old Paris Elementary School building in Ward 1. It's tailored for youth and their families and guardians, but anyone can attend because, as we all know, our constitutional rights apply to every single person who resides in the United States of America, regardless of documentation status. The second is council. We have our spring workshop this Saturday, so please tune in to that agenda and know what's happening on that date. Next week, we have the State of the City on May 12th, and I will also be traveling to Miami through an organization that helped me as a candidate, but I'm very excited because as the policy chair for transportation and public works, the whole focus of this trip is going to be around land use and transportation. So I'm ready to nerd out and figure out, Miami is obviously geographically very different from Colorado, but I do think there's a lot of potential possibilities of intersections of what we could bring here, how to work with our amazing staff, and just see, what are the possibilities, what's realistic, et cetera. I do want to note that the Ward 1 Town Hall for May has moved up 1 week because I'm traveling for my full-time job. So that will be May 21st this month. That's Thursday, and it's going to be at the MLK Library. And lastly, City Council aides. The job description is out. It's live. So if you or you know someone who is interested and being part of the work that City Council is doing, I encourage folks to apply. So thank you.
Councilmember Wiles.
Thanks, Mayor. It's been a busy couple of weeks since we were last here. I also attended the Heather Gardens community meeting, and so I thank them for that invitation. The Boys and Girls fundraiser, a lot of money was raised, and we got to meet some incredible youth. One spoke. Her name was Jelana, and she would be the first in her family to go to college at CU Denver. She was incredibly well-spoken, and she credited that to her support at Boys and Girls Club, and I think it just shows how important these services are for our kids, and we need to make sure that we bring more to our city, and especially to Ward 2 where we don't have any. So know that that is a priority for me because I want my youth in my ward to thrive just like all the other wards have that ability. Thank you to the African Leadership Group. They invited me to their Know Your Rights seminar. And then I also attended the Arapahoe County Rain Barrel class. I posted about it on my page. I don't know if they're having any more, but I have the instructions and the details about it. If that's something you want to install at your home, you are allowed to, and then you can water your garden without having to pay for any extra water. And I want to thank my Painted Prairie residents. I held a meeting for them to talk about their FRIA move, and I know that sometimes community members don't feel heard, and that was the reason that a lot of us ran this past election. And so I want to thank the residents who showed up to have their voice heard, even if they didn't get exactly what they wanted. I hope they know that their voices were powerful and that I appreciated them stepping up to attend, because not many people want to attend meetings at 6 o'clock on a weeknight after working all day. So I appreciate their engagement. I also attended a civic engagement group where we learned about the cultural symbolism behind the tradition of making leis. It was held by a group called Warm Cookies of the Revolution, and if you Google them, they will actually help you sponsor civic engagement classes. You can pick things like creating a living well or sharing about a topic, and they will help you organize and provide stipends for those events. And so that was a really great time. And then I also want to make sure and thank, I know Councilmember Horton talked about our council aides. However, I want to thank the one support that we do currently have. So Alia, hopefully you're not listening to this, you're resting and enjoying your night. But knowing you, you probably are. And I just want to make sure that everybody knows how utterly amazing you are. She is doing the work of multiple people, because we do have people that left their roles within the city in our city council office. And so she is doing the role of 3 to 4 people all at one time, and she's doing it magnificently. She responds to emails over the weekend, which she shouldn't, and along with a lot of the other staff that are here late at night, we could do nothing without them. Most of us have, well, a good portion of us have full-time jobs, and so we rely on them for help to try and organize things, and so we appreciate them. But shout out especially to Alia, because I appreciate you. And then finally, it's unfortunate that the cuts happened at Aurora Mental Health, because May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and the theme is More Good Days Together. And I just want to remind people that if you are struggling, I know the resources are scarce. I know that sometimes there's a lot of bureaucracy and red tape to getting the help that you deserve, but please keep reaching out, because more good days can only happen if we work together. So reach out. There's 988 is the mental health line. Heck, my number's online. Call me if you want to talk, because you're an important member of our community and we want you to stay here. So with that, that's all that I have for this month.
Councilmember Medina.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, my town hall is next Tuesday, May 12th, here at the Central Library from 6:30 to 8. We'll be talking about consent decree as well as transportation and safety. I also had the opportunity to go for the grand opening of the Support Inc. group, which works with adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities. They provide a lot of residential offerings, clinical, and home information. And I got to sit down actually with a lot of the people that go there and get some ideas of how we can better connect them to resources of jobs. So that's my report. Thank you.
Councilmember Hancock.
Thanks, Mayor. It's been a busy couple of weeks. I got the opportunity to attend one of the final reports on the Build Up Aurora work that has been done for the past few years in the Infrastructure Task Force. Very excellent work done by Councilmember Bergen and Councilmember Gardner, who are co-chairs of that committee. I attended the CCA College Beyond Walls, where President Mordecai Brownlee has done a phenomenal job of making Colorado really a beacon of higher education, and Community College of Aurora raised some $360,000 in this last go-around. The scholars that they featured were just amazing, young people who see the value of education in all kinds of aspects, whether it be technical or traditional college disciplines. The School of Nursing is top-notch, and gives these students the opportunity to get college degrees in nursing, pre-college, if they can go on and get their 4-year degrees, paramedics, and it's just a phenomenal program. The school overall has done exemplary work to show how our students in this city and the state can excel into educational pursuits. I'm also on the HCA Health One board and visited Spalding Rehabilitation Center this past Friday, and it's amazing what this organization does to help people who suffered all kinds of injury be restored and return to health, mobility, and some eventually going back to their homes. It was really nice taking a tour of that facility and seeing the innovative work that they do there to help people recover. This past Sunday, yesterday, I went to the CABES, the Colorado Association of Black Professional Engineers and Scientists. They had their 44th annual gala event. It's the Student Awards Banquet. It was at Infinity Park. This organization has been in existence for over 44 years. It started with some folks out at Bell Labs who wanted to see their students excel in math and the sciences, computer science. They do everything from civil engineering, water management, computer science, project management, math enrichment. They do a summer boot camp. There are lots of opportunities for young people to get involved in activities where they can contribute and be contributed to. They have junior engineers for tomorrow. They are engaging right now in a building project. They've been pretty much working with bricks, no straw for the past 44 years, and yet they've turned out thousands of students who've gone on to not only become civil engineers, but computer scientists, advanced degrees in engineering and the sciences. And it's a phenomenal program. They're currently operating out of the Vega Collegiate Academy on East Colfax, but they want to have their own building. So if you know a little bit about CABES, Colorado Association of Black Professional Engineers and Scientists, go out to their website. They're doing a building campaign so that they can get into their own space and continue to serve hundreds and hundreds of young people, not only in this, all over Colorado, but we have students coming in from out of state. That's how great this program is. And it's free. These kids, it's from 4th grade up through high school. They had 4 graduates that have been in the program since they were in 6th grade. And they're going off to medical school and engineering school. And it was just thrilling to see these young people who work together in teams and display the discipline and the work that they do and how it has changed their lives. You know, I've often found in my life, and I'm sure a lot of people can say this, that when you take a step forward and you're trying, someone that you may not know will reach out and help you and give you assistance. This is not about giving you things. This is about people who are trying to earn a different pathway in their life, and then someone reaches out to say, hey, I know something, I know someone, I know a way that can help you move forward and succeed. And it is just, it's phenomenal. We talked a lot about grace, and we talked a lot about a lot of discussion around decorum and grace, and you know, it's okay to disagree, but not to be disagreeable. People say that all the time, and yet people have trouble with that. We're human beings. We get very emotional about things, and because someone disagrees with you doesn't mean that they're evil. It means they just disagree with you, and that's okay. We should be able to have respectful discourse and disagree and walk away and still be okay. No one should feel like they should be threatened. I was really disturbed at the amount of vitriol and just outright meanness thrown at a person in the gallery tonight. Just because you disagree with her and did not like her letter, I didn't even read it. I didn't know what was going on until it started. But to attack someone with such vitriol is kind of heartbreaking, really. And it really colors why people don't want to come to this chamber that really have things that they want to share because they feel threatened. And that's kind of unfortunate that people should feel that way. I think you want grace, you give grace. And I appreciate Allison, Councilmember Coombs, the extent, you know, we have disagreements, and that's okay. I can give it just as much as I can take it, and it's just, at the end of the day, we still need to accomplish what the goals of this council is the proper role of government for us to take care of the things that our constituents care about, and hopefully do that to the best of our ability. And we want to continue to be able to do that. We knew the job was dangerous when we took it, but we took it because we want to serve the community. Whether you like me or not, whether you voted for me or not, I still work for you. And my commitment is to always be responsive to you. But I don't know if you don't reach out to me. You can go to shancock@auroragov.org. You can go to my website, stephanie4aurora.com. Whether you like me or not, don't care. But if you need something from me and I can help you, I would be glad to do that. Send in my report, Mayor.
Councilmember Lawson.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. So I'm going to start off first for my Ward 5 residents. There was a miscommunication. The Sagebrush Park playground was decommissioned on April 24th. There were some issues with the playground, and the reason why the playground was shut down was because the playground equipment was dangerous. And I had received several communications from some residents. I gave it to our pros department. They went out there and determined that that was what was wrong with the equipment and it had to be shut down. Where I take responsibility for was that there was a miscommunication. And I'm just going to be very transparent. I would have gotten this information out, but I did not know when the park was actually going to be decommissioned. So we got that salvage. It looks like we got everybody, all of the information. We are going to have a pop-up meeting with Ice Cream Truck on June 3rd at the Sagebrush Pavilion to get ideas from the community, the residents who live in and around the park. Because we are going to make this park one of the best parks that we can. So I hope everyone can come out there. If you want to find out more information about the park, and I will make sure I do my communications even during my reports and throughout my town halls. Go to www.auroragov.org/sagebrush. Again, I do want to give my residents the apology that there was a miscommunication and I did not know that the park was going to be decommissioned. But due to safety and due to safety for kids and people that use the park, I think that this was the best decision. So I just wanted to say that, and then we will have the pop-up. There are other parks that have great, fantastic things, like the Pheasant Run Park, the Carson Park, the Wagon Trail Park, and the Sunburst Park. So those parks will be utilized from there. Just to give my legislative update, the 2026 state legislative session wraps up on May 13th. Currently, there are 228 bills remain unresolved as of this morning, with several major proposals either just introduced or waiting introduction. Some major late session bills have been released surrounding transportation, healthcare, and AI. House Bill 26-1430, transportation funding adjustments, Senate Bill 26-187, establishing a commission on Medicaid, Senate Bill 26-188, residential treatment for members in Colorado Department of Human Service custody, and Senate Bill 26-189, automated decision-making technology. So we are getting down to the wire with the legislative session. It's been a very interesting session, and Mayor, that's all I have to report for tonight.
Oh, thank you. Councilmember Bergen?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I want to start off by saying something about my statement that I had made earlier on the resolution. And some people apparently were okay with somebody giving me their word and then not sticking by their word. So to me, it's about honesty. And if someone gives me their word, I do take that seriously. I believe that when they give me their word, that they're going to follow through. And it really was, I think, disrespectful that I had that conversation, as I stated earlier, that, he's accepting my amendment, was not going to accept any others, gave me his word. And then if truly he was going to make changes today, I didn't even get a phone call. I didn't get an email. I didn't get a phone call to just give me that respect to say, look, okay, I changed my mind and I made some changes. So to me, I value honesty above all. And it really, I think, erodes the trust in a relationship. So at this point, I don't know if I can ever trust that person again. So I just wanted to make that statement. A lot of things this past couple weeks had the Aurora Economic Development Executive Committee, and then also a subcommittee meeting that followed after that. Of course, Management and Finance Policy Committee and the Infrastructure Task Force. We had our last meeting. Planning and Economic Development. We had our meeting and we had a pretty lively discussion on food trucks. Also had several meetings with staff on different issues. And then this past Saturday was the Kentucky Derby at Southlands. We had a wonderful turnout, probably one of the better ones that we've had. The weather was great. And we had just we had kids contest first, and then the men, and then the ladies, and everyone just came out looking great. And we gave out prizes to the three best in each category. So that was very fun. And then I just want to state, I have already followed up with one of the constituents regarding the access road to the Aurora Reservoir, and then I will follow up with Mr. Cole tomorrow. I also did reach out to management, and I had reached out actually earlier about this issue, was awaiting some information. And so once I get that information, I will then again follow up with the two residents. And then I'm also trying to probably put together some sort of outreach to the tollgate crossing residents, possibly at one of their Metro District meetings on this particular issue. And then lastly, I just want to say that I'm very sorry to hear about Aurora Mental Health and all the positions that they had to cut. Very sad for those employees. Thank you.
Thank you. Just a couple of quick points. I want to thank the Aurora Library and Cultural Services for putting on the best Aurora Scholars Program that I'm aware of in the history of the city. They did a couple of changes. First of all, they did it in the chambers over 6 different ceremonies, and to accommodate all the schools in the city. They took out kindergarten, 1st and 2nd grade to make it smaller, but it was for the first time in the history of the program that I can ever recall, most of the schools, the principals that came up, or in some instances the vice principal, read something specific about each student and why they were being nominated for the Aurora Scholars Program, and it just really personalized it, and it made it so much more significant to the families as well as the students that were here in this chamber over the 6 different sessions. And I want to thank Councilmember Jackson for attending one of them. The last point is on the BRT, the Bus Rapid Transit, that Councilmember Horton and I and the Mayor Pro Tem were at the, I guess we call it groundbreaking ceremony. But what is so different about Aurora's approach is that Denver went, what is it called, down the center, right, and it went in a major reconstruction project that was so disruptive to the businesses there, and we're doing side running, and so there's not any major construction. We are doing some enhanced bus stops and modernizing those, but there will be more frequency of stops. So it's not going to be disruptive to our businesses, but it's going to be a great asset to the Colfax corridor that will go from the Denver line all the way to I-225. And with that, public invited to be heard.
Ayante Anderson, followed by Median Schaffner.
Thank you for being the master of ceremonies. You did a great job. Kids loved it. Well, 6 different times. It'll work no more? Okay.
there was a question posed by Councilmember Hancock in the closing moments of the resolution, asking a question or making a statement, when will it ever be enough? That this is not good enough. And Councilmember, you are correct. The passage of a resolution isn't good enough. For me, and I think I can speak for the folks with me, it will be enough when we never have to approach the dais about somebody in APD murdering anybody in our streets. That's when it will be enough. When it is enough, when Miss LaRonda Jones doesn't have to fly halfway across the country to be in these meetings with you all so that you feel the pain of a Black mother having to bury her child. When will it be enough? When the city of Aurora, city council members of Aurora, the mayor of Aurora are able to stand up to the police union and publicly tell them, you got this one wrong. When will it be enough? When the city of Aurora passes an ordinance that actually enforces what the intention of this resolution that was passed. When will it be enough? When the legislators don't have to come down to this podium to say, I'm watching you. When will it be enough? When anybody that does swear the oath to protect the citizens of Aurora understand that we must always utilize a restorative practice mindset when addressing members of our community. So, citizens of Aurora, is this enough for you? The current actions of your council are steps in the right direction, but it is not enough for all of us behind this podium. I don't care about individuals feeling some sort of way after 2 years of being absent in these chambers. Because if your soul is not disturbed by what you saw tonight and what you have witnessed over the last 2 years, then you are endorsing this action. And so now I'm asking those who watch this to ask yourself, is it truly enough?
Median Schaffner, followed by LaRonda Jones.
You know, after the things that were said tonight, after the reports that came from council, I feel like there's boxes in front of me. I can pick either the protection and centering of systemic fragility and talk about that, or I can talk about the hypocrisy that seemingly is sitting inside of the decorum space, or I can talk about the negligence in the ways in which the city still is not affording these families an opportunity to mourn gracefully. So we'll see if we can cover them all, but I'm going to talk about two that are really critical. I'm going to start with the families. The memorial of Kylan Lewis, May 23rd, marks 2 years since he was taken from his family. The family has come to this city and has asked for collaboration, permits, all the things that they need in order to live out the memorial that they want to do for Kylan Lewis. We have been trying since March to identify a way to ensure that the city understands what that memorial is going to look like. Peaceful, tranquil, and the city has not given response. Or the response that we have received is we're still working on it. We're still trying to find out about it. We are trying to do this your way. And this family still is not seen. That's negligence with intention behind it. So I don't know what it's going to take, but I'm assuming, Jason Batchelor, you have some answers to give to your employers about what May 23rd will or will not look like. We're trying to do it your way. As it pertains to the hypocrisy and decorum, I watched the decorum meeting that was held, and I watched community come and offer commentary and suggestions thoughtfully about what decorum opportunities can look like. But then I saw a council person essentially find dominance in the room, and instead of being postured to listen, she was postured to just respond. That's not intentional engagement. And I also heard that same council person say that government is not supposed to feel. That is not our role to feel. I would argue that leadership that does not allow for there to be humanity embedded is not strength, it's detachment. So I challenge you to do.
Jones, followed by Veronica Seabron.
I'm just going to reiterate what Median said. This month is truly a hard month for me. March through the end of May is very hard for me. And as you know, tonight, the lady struck upon a nerve that she has no idea how we mothers feel who has lost a loved one. And May 23rd does mark the 2-year mark for Kylene's life being taken. And we have been going down this road of trying to do things the right way, the civil way, of getting these things that we need, permits that we need, and nobody is responding. Well, I'm here to tell you, we're going to have this thing that we're going to have regardless. It's going to happen. Because there's too many people coming to this celebration of life from out of different states. It's not only for Colorado. People are coming, friends, family are coming from different states to join in this celebration of life. And I will not dare disappoint them, of traveling, flying hundreds of miles just to come here to the state of Colorado to join in. So with that being said, I'm hoping that we can get these permits done. We put these permits in at the beginning, the first week of March. Here we are in May, and nothing has been done. Haven't heard nothing from no one. But like I said, this will go on. Whether you guys want to adhere with the permits or not, it's going forward. Because we got too many other pastors coming in as well to join in this celebration of life. So we are a peaceful group, and we try to do things the right way. But it seems like you guys want to rile us up by procrastinating on to do the right thing. So we're going to keep our dignity and respect to all of you guys, and I hope that you do the same for us. And we welcome you to join in to this celebration of life. May 23rd at 11 o'clock through about 1 o'clock to join in the celebration, Kylene's life, because it's life mattered.
Veronica Seabron, followed by Allie D. Wells Marcano.
First, I want to address the invitation you received from Ms. LaRonda. That is showing being the bigger person. That is showing decorum. Correct. Because I don't know if I would have that in my heart to invite you guys into such a sacred space for me and my son, especially after the words she heard tonight. Now, I want to take the time, Ms. Jackson, Mr. Andrews, Mr. Medina, Ms. Combs, Mr. Gardner, Ms. Horton, and Ms. Wiles. I have seen a moment where you guys have at least acknowledged those of the public and that you have heard. Now, I want to address Ms. Stephanie Hancock. As Ayante said, you question, when is it going to be enough? And I rephrase that with a question, when are we going to stop getting killed? Correct. You also said that you were disheartened by what you seen in the hallway to a woman who was called here that had a different opinion. But you are not disheartened that your mayor called that person here to speak against grieving families. She was called directly to use scripture. But Mayor Kaufman, the person you called on didn't even stand by their word. They are not even here to speak in the second half. So those that you depend on have also left you. It is not spoken about the hurt that that request has brought on. Ms. Hancock, I would appreciate it with a little contact, because I noticed that you are ready to go once you said what you said. Your purse, your phone, you're ready to be out. That is not showing that you are listening. And that may be the reason why you said you don't even know what this is about anymore, due to the bickering. Maybe it is due to the lack of understanding, the lack of will to open your heart to something that another grieving family, another grieving mother has stood here. Jason, look up, say cheese. You are directed to answer this family for these passes, for this day to happen on March 23rd. And not once did you look at this mother. Not once did you address the community that is standing here with us. So again, Ms. Hancock, as you are very determined to be opposed, maybe it's time for you to step back, calm down, look at your actions, as they are seen and heard very widely. But if you don't even know what we've been coming for, then maybe you don't even know why you're in that seat.
Ali D. Wills Marcano, followed by Juan Marcano.
Enjoy that seat.
Since it is the word of the evening, I am here to bring forward a point of decorum. I wanted to give you a little bit of a quick history lesson that is, I think, a perfect example of how decorum has been used specifically to silence and be a cudgel against some folks and not others. In March of 2022, there was a significant problem where some members of council were expressly saying things that were untrue, there were misrepresentations of facts. Another member of council made a habit of correcting these facts and saying, well, that was a lie, that was an untruth, that was a misrepresentation. After that, the mayor brought forward a decorum resolution, which was voted on by this council, and it is still in place, that specifically said that members of council cannot call other members of council a liar. They cannot say that something that another member of council has said is a lie. This is a rule that you have put in place as council. Tonight, that rule was not enacted against Councilmember Bergen, when not only did she call Councilmember Andrews a liar, not only did she say that what he did was a lie, she called him dishonest. She did all of these things that are expressly against the rules of council, expressly against the rules of decorum. She also interrupted speakers in the middle of their speaking, and nothing was done to stop her. As council, if this is in the rules, if this is decorum, you should hold her accountable to that. In fact, I beg and call it. Councilmember Hancock, I am your constituent, and you said that you want to listen to your constituents, you want to engage with your constituents, and you want to serve your constituents. I am asking you, as your constituent, to hold Francoise Bergen accountable for breaking the rules of decorum that you hold so dear.
Juan Marcano, followed by Ellen Wu.
Okay, guess this is as high as it goes. Decorum. In these chambers, I have only seen that term used when someone in power hears something that they do not want to hear. When a member of the city council tells blatant lies to the public, this is considered decorous. Forked tongues through wicked smiles, A-OK. When a member of the council is called out for their lies by a colleague, this is not decorous. They get gavelled down for having the nerve to call out blatant, easily disprovable bullshit. Mike, I couldn't help but notice that you allowed Councilmember Bergen to call Councilmember Andrews a liar not once, but twice. Where's your gavel, buddy? And I point this out not because I agree with your silly decorum rule change from years ago or to accuse you of hypocrisy because I know that doesn't matter to you. I point this out to highlight to everybody else who is listening that decorum is selective. Decorum is a weapon. It is used as a tool to silence speech that the people in power do not agree with. It is used as a distraction from the substantive systemic issues that our city needs to have addressed, ranging from racial justice, police reform, housing, homelessness, land use, and so much more. And I want to remind you all that dealing with people swearing at you is not the same, not even remotely in the same ballpark, as having your unarmed child or friend killed by the police. It is not the same as losing your home and being scapegoated and smeared by former members of this body and the now freaking President of the United States as a member of a violent Venezuelan gang takeover. If you want to experience peace in these chambers, you need to first address the systemic injustices that Aurorans face. And Stephanie and Francoise, I got extra smoke for you two tonight because this is an issue that goes well beyond decorum. Not being willing to hear the last 10 remaining speakers demonstrates not just your fragility, but your disinterest in participating in a representative democracy. And I have excellent news for you guys. Are you ready for it? You can fix that right now, tonight, for yourselves. Resign. Have a great night, y'all.
Ellen Wu.
True leadership means protecting the safety and belonging of everyone. May is National Asian American Native Hawaiian Pacific Islander AA-NHPI Heritage Month. This celebrates the history, culture, achievements of the AA-NHPI communities. This honors the generations of the AA-NHPI who have enriched America's history and are instrumental in its future success. May 10th is National AA-NHPI Mental Health Awareness Day. This plays a critical role in raising awareness about mental health within the AA-NHPI community, leveraging resources for our community organizations, developing partnerships, and advocating the policies that increase access to culturally responsive mental health services. May 18th, the National AAPI Day Against Bullying and Hate is observed annually on this day because it honors Vincent Chin's birthday, who was murdered in 1982. This day aims to combat bullying and anti-Asian violence. The bullying and anti-Asian violence has been present for decades and has significantly increased in recent years. I am the child of immigrants from China. I honor my elders, my ancestors, for their sacrifices and accomplishments. I honor my heritage and not just the month of May, but every day. Permit Chen. My core perspectives stem from a deep belief in the promise of democracy and our rights to sit at the table and express our views and needs. This cannot happen if the people, community are not educated and organized with you. AAPIs should not be invisible, silent, or marginalized.
That was the last individual.
What's that, that's it?
Yes.
Seeing no further business before the Aurora City Council meeting is adjourned.